This man was reborn 1 month before the apocalypse. Unexpectedly, he stockpiled millions of tons of pork inside his spatial dimension. In his previous life, he possessed an unimaginable power that allowed him to dominate all other survivors. However, in the end, he fell into despair in a world overrun by zombies and chose to end his own life to escape its darkness. Yet, after his death, he was unexpectedly reborn. Even his overpowered spatial ability from his past life returned with him. At that moment, a group of delivery workers stood before him. "Mr. Tran, the 100 portions of fried chicken you ordered have been delivered." "Mr. Tran, please check your order. The 100 roast ducks have also arrived." But it wasn't just chicken and duck. He had ordered an enormous supply of food and necessities in preparation for the upcoming apocalypse. Tran Lak said, "All right, you can leave now. I trust you all." Seeing how much he had ordered, the delivery workers couldn't help but make snide remarks. "Is this guy starving or something? Why would he buy so much food? Rich people really do think differently. I swear, this guy must be crazy." Haha. Tran Lak overheard their comments but ignored those fools. They would understand soon enough. In just 1 month, being surrounded by so much food felt incredible. After all, just 3 days ago, he had been starving to death in the apocalypse. Inside his personal storage space, empty roast duck boxes lay scattered across the dark void. Yes, 27 days from now, a zombie outbreak would devastate the world. 80% of humanity would turn into zombies, and the remaining survivors would struggle to stay alive. However, some humans would evolve and awaken supernatural abilities, some enhancing their physical strength, others wielding elemental powers, and some developing psychic abilities. But his power was different. Tran Lak possessed an extremely rare ability, spatial manipulation. People called him the Void Monarch. With this power, he thrived in battle and had unparalleled survival skills. However, life in the apocalypse was brutal. He was forced to fight endlessly for resources. And in the end, he had to kill every last survivor just to stay alive. Left completely alone, Tran Lak was consumed by loneliness. Thus, he dug his own grave and buried himself, choosing to escape that bleak, miserable world. But when he opened his eyes again, he found himself reborn, 27 days before the apocalypse. Although his combat power and supernatural abilities had disappeared, his spatial storage remained intact. Now, what's the most crucial thing in an apocalypse? Food. Without food and water, no one could survive. And Tran Lak now had the power to freeze time inside his personal storage space. Excitement surged through him. It was as if fate had given him a second chance to gamble with destiny. There was no way he would let this opportunity slip away. Without hesitation, he began stockpiling massive amounts of supplies in his spatial dimension. Just then, his phone rang. "Tran Lak, get over here right now. We need to talk." After hanging up, Tran Lak muttered, "So, it begins. But this time, I won't be so naive." An hour later, he arrived at Tran Corporation's headquarters. As he sat in his chair, the man in front of him bombarded him with questions. "Why did you sell off all your billions in stocks? That's a massive decision. And you didn't even tell me? Do you still see me as family?" "Tran Lak, if you're being threatened or facing difficulties, you can always talk to me." Tran Lak rested his chin on his hand, deep in thought. This old man really knows how to put on a show. Had it not been for the apocalypse, he never would have overheard his cousin's sinister plan to murder his parents and steal their shares. If he hadn't learned the truth, he would have been deceived for the rest of his life. Finally, he spoke. "No one is threatening me. I just have a premonition that pork prices will skyrocket. I invested all my billions into stockpiling pork. Soon, I'll be able to sell it for tens, even hundreds of billions, perhaps far more than anyone can imagine." The old man's expression changed. Has this brat lost his mind? But he quickly masked his thoughts and spoke in a softer tone. "Well then, why don't you sell me the rest of your stocks?" Tran Lak scratched his head and said, "Sorry, but I've already sold them. Looks like you won't be able to buy the stocks back." Hearing this, the old man was left speechless. Suddenly, Tran Lak spoke again. "I need to step outside to take a call." The old man forced a smile and said, "Go ahead." As Tran Lak left, the old man watched his retreating figure and thought, "That little brat actually dared to go behind my back. I must teach him a lesson." Outside, Lam Ngu answered an unknown call. "Who is this?" A voice on the other end replied, "Mr. Tran, the black-furred dog you asked me to find has been located in a countryside estate. However, it's missing one ear. I'll send you a picture to confirm if it's the right one." Upon hearing this, Tran Lak was delighted. "I'll check right away." After the apocalypse, survivors ranked ability users based on their power. Top 1 of the space system, Tran Lak. Top 1 of the fire system, a blood rose spirit flame. Top 1 of the lightning system, a dog known as the lightning Dharma cane. In the apocalypse, any living creature that wasn't turned into a zombie had a chance to awaken an ability. However, this lightning ability user was a dog. With food being scarce, many people looked at this dog and saw a meal rather than a powerful being. Just as Trenlack expected, this poor creature had suffered terribly. He had once been the only person who could defeat it in battle. So he knew it well. Staring at his phone, he practically drooled. That flavor, that scent. Yes, that's definitely the one. The dog with the torn ear, it has to be him. Trenlack chuckled to himself. Dharma cane, oh Dharma cane, this time, I won't let you go hungry. How about we become friends? I'll make sure you eat well and stay warm every day. Little Black, this time, I will save you, and you will acknowledge me as your master. An hour later, Trenlack arrived at a dog meat restaurant. The pitiful dog inside the cage looked nothing like the legendary warrior it would become in the apocalypse. Trenlack approached and whispered, "Don't be afraid, I'm here to save you." Then, he turned and shouted, "Where's the owner of this place? Get out here." A man rushed forward. "I'm here, sir. What can I do for you? You stole my dog and still dare to ask why I'm here? If I hadn't found out in time, my little Black would already be in your cooking pot." The restaurant owner frowned, thinking, wasn't this a stray dog? How could it have an owner? Scratching his head, he said, "Brother, all our dogs come from legal sources. Village dogs look alike. You must be mistaken." Trenlack narrowed his eyes. "Legal sources? All right, I'll call the police and let them investigate your so-called legal sources." The man visibly tensed. Hey, no need for that. Let's not make a big deal out of this." Trenlack smirked. "Oh, you want to fight me instead?" Before the man could react, Trenlack grabbed his arm, twisted it behind his back, and kicked his leg out from under him, slamming him to the ground. After surviving countless battles in the apocalypse, how could he be afraid of a weakling like this? Trenlack looked down at him. "So, still want to handle me?" The man, now drenched in sweat, clasped his hands together in submission. "Brother, no. Big brother, please, have mercy. This is all just a misunderstanding." He quickly ran to the cage. Which one is your dog? Just take him, no charge, okay?" Trenlack chuckled. "Good, since your attitude isn't bad, I'll let this slide, but next time, don't push your luck." He had plenty of money to buy Little Black back, but getting something for free always felt better. The moment Little Black was released, he wagged his tail excitedly. The seller nervously said, "You can take him now." "Sir." Lamb Ngu crouched down and looked at the dog. "Do you want to come home with me?" The dog seemed to understand. It thought to itself, "Little Black? Is he talking about me? But, he saved my life. I suppose I should follow him." Seeing Little Black move toward him, Trenlack smirked. As expected, it has intelligence. Taming the lightning Dharma King, complete. And damn, did he look cool doing it. He even drove his Lamborghini to pick up the dog. Once inside, Trenlack looked over and said, "From now on, stay with me, I'll call you Dharma King. Alright?" The dog let out a bark. Woof. For now, he needed to build a bond with the lightning Dharma King. "Let's go, I'll buy you some food." Trenlack stopped near a military officer. His name was To Die True. In his past life, while Trenlack wandered the apocalypse with his void space ability, it was this man who used his superhuman strength to fight off zombies and help Trenlack escape. In the end, To Die True sacrificed himself, allowing Trenlack to live. Trenlack met his sworn brother again and thought, "This time, I'll make sure you eat and drink to your heart's content." He then said, "Die True, let's go out for drinks after work tonight. Just the two of us. Catching up and having a good time." However, Die True, being the serious young man he was, replied, "No way, big bro. My mom said men shouldn't pick up bad habits." Trenlack was speechless, so he joked, "Fine, then call your mom and invite her too." That left Die True at a loss for words. At that moment, Trenlack suddenly realized that in this timeline, he and Die True weren't that close yet. But here he was, inviting him for drinks as if they had known each other for years. It wasn't until the apocalypse that they truly became comrades who trusted each other with their lives. The scene shifted to a luxurious villa with an indoor waterfall. Trenlack looked at Tu Hack and said, "Dharma King, from now on, this is your home. Come in and let me give you a bath." As he bathed Tu Hack, Trenlack thought to himself, "Being reborn in this life, it's beyond anything I could have imagined. Who would have thought that in my previous life, I would end up as the last human on Earth?" But then he smirked. "At least this time, I know what's coming after the apocalypse. I know what kind of supernatural abilities will appear. Maybe I should build a base and recruit ability users like Tu Hack? That way, I can also restore my spatial ability. Of course, setting up a base required an immense amount of resources, food, water, medicine, and countless other necessities. After all, in the apocalypse, even rainwater becomes contaminated, and there's no real way to fight off the zombie virus. Lost in thought, Tran Lak suddenly snapped back to reality. There's so much I need to do. He looked at Tu Hack and said, Tu Hack, don't be afraid. This life will be completely different for you. Just help me with your lightning ability. And we'll be fine. Zombies in the post-apocalyptic world are terrified of electricity, even though it's useless at first. But hey, electricity is what keeps big bases running. Haha. With that, he immediately started purchasing all the necessary supplies. There's no time to waste. By dinner time, one man and one dog were sitting together, sharing a meal. Tran Lak smiled and said, Tu Hack, eat slower, or you'll choke. He tossed a bone aside and reassured, don't worry, we have enough food and supplies to last a lifetime. When he noticed Tu Hack throwing his bone away in the same manner as him, he chuckled to himself, did this dog just imitate me? But then, looking at the pile of bones in front of him, he suddenly felt a bit awkward. Wait, am I actually just insulting myself here? Just as he was enjoying a chicken leg, a sudden knock came from the door. A woman's voice called out, it's Ma Nok. Seeing her, Tran Lak's eyes lit up. Ma Nok was a private chef for hire. And in this timeline, he was still learning how to cook from her. He had almost forgotten. He immediately invited her inside. Ma Nok, on the other hand, was thinking to herself, it's just cooking, but he's paying me 500,000 a month? Damn, rich people are something else. She couldn't help but suspect Tran Lak had some hidden agenda. But when she saw his face, she suddenly felt at ease. With a guy like him, I doubt he's even interested in me. She thought about it again. With his money, he probably has no shortage of beautiful women. He wouldn't waste his time on someone like me, right? Meanwhile, Lam Nu, another chef, had already stocked up on all the necessary ingredients. In the apocalypse, not knowing how to cook is a serious disadvantage, no matter how much it costs. Learning is worth it. Ma Nok walked into the kitchen and said, alright, let's get started. Today, I'll teach you how to make sweet and sour ribs. Hearing that, Tran Lak got excited. Finally, a real dish. But then, he smirked. Of course, I'll pay her next month. But next month is literally the apocalypse. He. Ma Nok, focused on cooking, instructed, cut the ribs into smaller pieces. Once they cool a bit, put them in the pot. Now, pour the oil. Wait, why are you pouring so much? You think oil is free? She scolded him again. You seriously can't tell the difference between sugar and salt? The final result? A dish so nightmarish that it could only be considered appetizing to zombies. After finishing one dish, Tran Lak was already exhausted. Why does this feel harder than fighting zombies? Even so, Ma Nok gave him a slight compliment. Better than last time. Tran Lak looked at his own cooking and felt a shiver down his spine. Even Tu Hack refused to eat it. The dog barked. I have no grudge against you. Master, why are you trying to poison me? Ma Nok said, try harder next time. You'll improve little by little. But Tran Lak thought, this won't do. I should probably just hire a chef for the apocalypse. After the lesson, Ma Nok said goodbye and left. Tran Lak thought to himself, honestly, her cooking skills are solid. I wonder how she'll survive in the apocalypse. Watching her walk away, he suddenly grinned. Ma Nok, I can already see it. Fate has decided, we belong together. Hee. Just then, he spotted someone very familiar. Ahead, two beautiful girls walked side by side, chatting and laughing. But these sisters were far from ordinary. The elder sister, Mi Lin, had awakened the flame ability, becoming the top-ranked firemaster. Her younger sister, Mi Lap, was even more formidable. She was a light ability user, although her combat strength in her past life wasn't exceptional. She was the strongest support. Later, she even mastered healing techniques. Tran Lak immediately pulled out his phone and made a note. I must recruit these two. Then, he made a call. You have 3 days to investigate a pair of sisters for me. Most importantly, find out what they like to eat. At this point, it was already May 28th, only 5 days left until the apocalypse. The report came back. Mi Lin liked spicy food and fruits like grapes. Mi Lap preferred fish, especially braised pork trotters. Her favorite fruit? Watermelon. Looking at the list, Tran Lak smirked. Braised dishes. Huh? Not a bad idea. I should stock up on some myself. May 29 to 4 days until the apocalypse. Tran Lak purchased a combat suit, one for himself and another for Dai Tru. Made 30 to 3 days until the apocalypse. He acquired an electric baseball bat. The normal voltage could stun, but the high voltage could kill. Made 31 to 2 days until the apocalypse. He bought a truck for himself. June 1st, the day before the apocalypse. That night, Tran Lak couldn't sleep. In my past life, I suffered like a dog. But if the apocalypse doesn't actually happen, wouldn't all my preparations be for nothing? Maybe I should just sacrifice myself for the good of humanity. June 2 to 1 hour and 20 minutes before the apocalypse. Tran Lak made another call. Hello, uncle. Sorry for calling so early. But I need your help. From what I know, cryptocurrency is about to surge, possibly tenfold. But you see, I spent all my money on pork. So, I'd like to use 10 billion yuan worth of goods as collateral for a 5 billion yuan loan. Once it rises, that 5 billion will turn into 50 billion. It'll be a huge profit for you. Then he added, how about I come over and explain in person? Call Phi Ca2. As he walked, he thought to himself, the apocalypse will be the day you all die. Before getting out of the car, he turned to Tiu Hack. Stay inside and keep safe. Don't run around. Tiu Hack barked in response. Woof. Looking over at Dai Tru, Tran Lak thought, even without my guidance in the last life, he survived just fine, but since we're friends, I should at least give him a heads up. He walked up and said, I have a bad feeling today. Like something terrible is about to happen. Around 9 a.m., be extra careful. Hearing that, Dai Tru grew uneasy. Oh okay, Tran Ca, I'll be careful. At the Tran family villa, Tran Lak's uncle scoffed. That brat thinks cryptocurrency is about to surge? Is he insane? His son, however, replied, but father, this could be a great opportunity. His uncle sneered, that kid knows I tricked him last time. There's no way he'd help me make money. But his son insisted, I know crypto well, he's desperate for a reason. And honestly, who else could he borrow 5 billion from besides us? Just as they were discussing, they heard that Tran Lak had arrived. His father warned, let's stay cautious. At 9:05 a.m., a man greeted Tran Lak with a smirk. Tran Lak, you're a bit timid, but don't worry, just let this brother take care of you. Then, he pulled Tran Lak into a tight hug, making him cringe in disgust. After some greetings, Tran Lak devoured his meal like a starving beast, shocking everyone. Why is he eating like that? They wondered. Just then, a strange noise came from outside. The uncle ordered, Phi, go check it out. But Tran Lak already knew what was coming. He rushed out, saying, I'll go too. If something happens, we might need to take Phi Ca to the hospital. His uncle frowned, feeling suspicious. At that moment, Phi Ca was just about to open the front gate, only to come face to face with a zombie. His family's maid had turned, and he fell back in terror. What the hell is happening? The zombie lunged at him, groaning hungrily. Blood? So much blood? But Phi Ca slammed the door shut just in time. Then, a hand suddenly grabbed the door, stopping him from closing it completely. It was Tran Lak. Brother, closing the door won't help you see what's really happening outside. And with that, he knocked Phi Ca out with a single blow to the back of the head. As he grabbed the main entrance, he smirked. Don't worry, I won't let you die from something as painless as electricity. As soon as the words left his mouth, Tran Lak immediately swung the door open. The zombie lunged at Duong Xie, tearing into his body. Lao Bak rushed outside and was utterly shocked by the scene before him. Tran Lak, what the hell are you doing? He roared, then charged at Tran Lak in a blind fury. But Tran Lak simply raised his bat and said, come on. Then, Lao Bak, despite his aggressive words, instinctively recoiled when he saw the bat swing toward him. Tran Lak laughed heartily. Haha, what's wrong? Are you some kind of insulator that doesn't get electrocuted? Go ahead, try blocking it. A second later, Lao Bak was sprawled out on the floor. Tran Lak smirked. Oof, that looked painful. At that moment, Duong Xie regained consciousness. Groaning in agony, he turned his desperate gaze to his father and cried out, Dad, help me. Tran Lak scoffed. I don't have a son like you. Duong Xie, struggling, reached out toward Tran Lak's leg. But Tran Lak kicked his hand away. Your father's down there, he said coldly. Duong Xie tried to say something, but before the words could escape his lips, the zombie behind him sank its teeth into his flesh. Tran Lak stood on the side, watching the horrific scene unfold with icy detachment. He then casually tapped Lao Bak with his bat. Wake up, old man, he said. Lao Bak snapped back to consciousness, only to see his son being devoured alive. He turned to Tran Lak and screamed, Tran Lak, Tran Phi is your cousin. Save him. I admit I wronged your family. But Tiu Fi had nothing to do with it. Tran Lak narrowed his eyes. Is that so? And what else have you done? Lao Bak was startled by Tran Lak's unnerving calmness. Could it be that he already knew everything? Tran Lak grabbed him by the collar. Think carefully, he warned. Your son won't last much longer. Even then, Lao Bak stubbornly held his ground. Tran Lak, if you save Tiu Fi now, I might still let you off the hook. Otherwise, you'll have a hard time escaping this mess. Tran Lak shook his head. I already gave you a chance. Lao Bak clenched his teeth and spat. You heartless bastard, how dare you kill your own cousin and uncle? Even animals wouldn't do something this despicable. Tran Lak slapped him across the face. Are you talking about yourself? He sneered. My parents took you in and gave you a place in the Tran Corporation. And what did you do in return? You plotted against them, had them killed, and stole the company. And now you have the audacity to lecture me? Without another word, Tran Lak threw him toward the zombie. A pang of emotion flickered across his face as he muttered. Father, I couldn't do anything to help you back then. But this is the best I can do now. With the father and son dealt with, the remaining zombies immediately turned their attention to Tran Lak. He swung his electric bat, smashing it into the face of the nearest one. As expected, he thought, aside from their mindless hunger for human flesh, they have no emotions at all. The zombie let out a blood-curdling shriek as the electricity coursed through its body. Though it lacked fear, it still felt pain. The momentary paralysis and dizziness were proof that the shock was effective. Killing these things isn't that hard. Tran Lak mused. All I had to do is stab them straight through the forehead. It was a gruesome method, but it worked. Besides, right between their eyebrows lay something truly valuable, energy crystals. In this zombie-infested world, these energy crystals serve multiple purposes. At that moment, Tran Lak was storing the crystal in his personal space. The energy within zombie crystals not only helps awakeners recover quickly but can also enhance their abilities. Fire element crystals are red, wind element crystals are blue, and space element crystals are transparent. However, when Tran Lak obtained a crystal from the Dharma King, it was purple. After dealing with a ruthless father and son, Tran Lak stepped outside to check the situation. Almost immediately, a zombie lunged at him, but he greeted it with a swing of his bat. The zombie, already weak, convulsed from the electric shock emitted by the bat. Tran Lak then retrieved the crystal from the zombie's body, considering it a well-earned reward for putting the creature out of its misery. From inside the car, Tiu Hak watched Tran Lak's merciless attacks in shock, whimpering to itself, "Is my master really this ruthless?" Noticing its reaction, Tran Lak walked over and reassured it. Dharma King, I think we're both about to awaken soon. These are just zombies, not humans. Once you awaken, we'll hit the road. Leading Tiu Hak back into the house, Tran Lak noticed the little creature was still unsettled by the sight of corpses. He casually remarked, "You'll get used to it soon enough." Then, he relaxed on the sofa, peeling an apple as if nothing in the world could disturb him. Just as he took a bite, something strange happened. Tiu Hak suddenly started convulsing. Its lightning ability had begun to awaken. Overwhelmed by pain, it trembled uncontrollably. Even Tran Lak had to step aside, marveling at the situation. What a great master I am. When the awakening process finally ended, Tiu Hak collapsed in exhaustion. Seeing that it was safe, Tran Lak approached, still munching on his apple. He thought to himself, looks like Tiu Hak has successfully awakened its lightning ability. Now we can roam freely among the zombies. Just as that thought crossed his mind, Tran Lak felt something was off. The apple slipped from his fingers, and a wave of excruciating pain surged through him. Looks like it's my turn to awaken another ability. Gritting his teeth, he fought to stay upright, then sat down, trying to sort through the surging energy. As he waved his hand, 2 streaks of green light shot forward, instantly distorting the wall ahead. Tiu Hak barked in response. Tran Lak examined his own hand and sighed. Not good, even at a quarter of my strength. This attack isn't strong enough to kill a zombie. In this apocalypse, abilities are ranked from level 1 to level 10. However, reaching level 10 isn't the end, there's still the king rank beyond that. In their past lives, Dharma King, Tiu Hak, and Milin had all reached the king rank. Tran Lak himself had also attained that level, but after obtaining the Dharma King's crystal, he had ascended to an even greater power, though he had yet to understand what that entailed. At this moment, the crystal in front of him was a transparent, level 1 space element crystal. If he collected 20 more, he could advance to level 2. Turning to Tiu Hak, he warned, "Don't you dare zap me. First, focus on sensing and gathering energy. Then release it." Sure enough, a second later, Tiu Hak let out a loud yell. Pika pika. A massive 100.000-volt bolt of lightning struck the wall. Tran Lak chuckled and patted its head. Good job, keep practicing. Not long after, Tran Lak led Tu Hack to an area swarming with zombies for some combat training. Let's split up and take them down, he suggested. Tu Hack barked in agreement. Tran Lak was fully geared up, wearing armor and wielding 2 electrified baseball bats, while Tu Hack had nothing but its fur. As they approached, a zombie spotted them but barely had time to react before being struck by their combined attack. Seeing Tu Hack's strength, the zombie flinched in disbelief. Tu Hack was surprised too. It actually dodged? Tran Lak pointed and reassured. It's fine, just lure them over here. Tu Hack dashed around, taunting the zombies like it was playing a game. Be careful, Tran Lak reminded it. After finishing off the zombies outside, Tran Lak entered a high-end villa's supermarket. Using his space ability, he swiftly stored all the essential supplies inside his dimension. Efficient as ever, he fought zombies while looting the store for food and energy crystals. Meanwhile, outside, Tu Hack was still playfully luring zombies away. Sprinting back and forth, it started to wonder, how does my master deal with zombies so effortlessly? Tran Lak, ever considerate, casually patted its head with one hand while striking down zombies with the other. One day, you'll be as strong as me. Encouraged, Tu Hack barked eagerly. At the same time, the world was descending into chaos as the zombie outbreak spread. While Tran Lak was driving, a young man shouted from behind. Accelerating toward him, the man asked, "Hey, what's going on? Why can't I make any phone calls?" Tran Lak simply replied, "The apocalypse has begun." The man was stunned by the word apocalypse but tried to maintain his composure. "Bro, let's stick together. If something happens, we can watch each other's backs." Tran Lak coldly replied, "I don't need it." The man who heard this grew furious and cursed. "You'll turn into a zombie soon enough. Just wait and see." Tran Lak had considered recruiting some underlings. But if anyone wanted to follow him, they had to be elite, only the strong could survive. As he drove, lost in thought, he suddenly noticed something ahead. A massive horde of zombies was blocking the road. Within seconds, the sound of his vehicle had already attracted countless zombies from the streets. Sensing fresh prey, they immediately rushed toward him. Tran Lak stepped out of the car and smirked. Just as expected, 2 zombies lunged at him but were instantly knocked to the ground. However, 3 more attacked from behind. Without even turning, Tran Lak swung his bat. Amused, "You think you can ambush me? Pathetic." Only one zombie remained, charging at him while he was still chuckling. It managed to sink its teeth into his arm. But Tran Lak had anticipated this. He purposely let it bite him before sending it flying, thanks to his protective armor. Raising his bat, he scoffed, "If no one's around to pull your teeth in the apocalypse, I'll do the honors." A second later, he dashed forward and swung his bat. "Not that it matters, since none of you will last long enough to need it." Just as he was about to attack again, his bat suddenly malfunctioned. "Oh, come on, the damn battery died at the worst time." Frustrated, Tran Lak tossed the bat at the zombies. "Fine, take it if you want. Just don't bite me." But let's not forget, Tran Lak had a spatial ability. In an instant, a brand new baseball bat appeared in his hands, and he resumed his zombie slaying spree. Naturally, after finishing them off, he collected their energy crystals. At that moment, Tu Hack ran over, looking around in confusion. Then it barked, "Woof woof." Tran Lak proudly showed off the truck he had bought in preparation for this very day. "If you don't mind me being broke, hop on, I'll take you for a ride." As they got into the truck, Tran Lak smirked and asked, "Tu Hack, with this ride?" He suddenly floored the gas pedal. Then continued, "Why should we fear any zombies?" The garage door was blasted open as the truck rammed through it. Tran Lak let out a satisfied laugh. "Damn, that felt amazing." As they drove out, they encountered a group of zombies in worker uniforms. But no matter how many there were, his truck could plow through them all. Watching the vehicle mow down zombies effortlessly made me want one too. Even Tu Hack was startled by how ruthless the scene was. Meanwhile, a few people watching from a nearby building were awestruck. "Holy shit, this guy is a total beast." 3 people were discussing among themselves. "That truck is even stronger than the others in this cold storage facility. Let's ask him to take us out of here." The young man who had encountered Tran Lak earlier sneered. "You guys think you're some kind of VIPs? You expect him to risk his life for you? Besides, that guy is ruthless. If he weren't, he wouldn't be cutting down zombies like that." After a pause, he added, "I bet he came here because he knew this facility had supplies. Once he gets what he needs, he's gone." Then he suggested, "Forget asking. Let's just take his truck and escape ourselves. At that moment, Tran Lak had stepped out of his vehicle, preparing to gather supplies. The group upstairs continued arguing over whether to steal his truck. The young man hesitated but ultimately agreed with the plan. While Tran Lak was collecting zombie crystals, a girl approached him. Hello. She turned out to be part of the group that had been scheming against him. Thanks for dealing with the zombies for us, she said sweetly. Tran Lak figured she was trying to ask for help. How many of you are there? He asked. 3, she replied, adding a bit of small talk to stall for time. Just as expected, her teammates suddenly ambushed him, restraining him. He was speechless. Seriously? You were just thanking me a moment ago. 2 of the guys sneered. Dude, don't struggle. Relax. We just need to borrow your truck. Tran Lak remained silent. From the truck, Tiu Hak suddenly leapt down to rescue his master. The 2 men sneered at the little pup, completely underestimating it. But what they didn't realize was that Tran Lak had already summoned an electrified baseball bat using his spatial ability. Zap! The 2 fools were instantly sent flying, regretting their life choices. Tran Lak sighed. Well, dead men tell no tales. After finishing them off, he turned his gaze toward the girl who had lured him into the trap. Seeing him approach, she burst into tears, begging for mercy. Tran Lak coldly said, "Shut the hell up." She screamed and ran away. Chumina. Tran Lak chuckled. Damn, she's fast. Then he called out, Tiu Hak, get her. Following the order, Tiu Hak charged forward and rammed into her back. There was no escape. Tran Lak swiftly finished her off. After wrapping up, they continued scavenging for supplies. This place had everything: drinks, seafood, meat, and more. After securing the entire stock, they grinned with satisfaction. Tran Lak decided they had collected enough for the day and took a break before continuing their loot run. As they were driving, a man appeared on the road, signaling for them to stop. Can you give me a ride? He asked. But something about him seemed off. He was holding a bat, and it didn't look trustworthy at all. Tran Lak immediately saw through him. Yeah, this guy's definitely up to no good. He thought to himself, I literally just dealt with some thieves. And now another one shows up? The man kept waving, trying to get the truck to stop. But Tran Lak didn't give a damn and sped right past him. Seeing this, the guy cursed angrily. You trying to run me over? Tran Lak glanced in the rearview mirror and saw the man fuming behind him. Trying to rob me? Go find your own loot, you pig. But suddenly, Tran Lak hit the brakes. He turned to Tiu Hak and said, that guy just said he wants to eat dog meat. Tiu Hak tilted its head in confusion. It hadn't heard the words dog meat at all. The man saw the car stop and immediately rolled up his sleeves, ready to teach Tran Lak a lesson. At that moment, Tiu Hak jumped down, eager to see if the man really wanted to eat dog meat. Seeing a dog approach, the man was momentarily surprised, but he didn't care much. Without hesitation, he raised his hand to strike. Before he could react, Tiu Hak zapped him with electricity. If master wants you dead, then you must die. Then it added, so, you like dog meat, huh? Take this. Tran Lak poked his head out of the car and said, next time, don't hesitate when you attack. That's the only way to survive in the apocalypse. Hearing this, Tiu Hak immediately lunged at the man's throat, thinking, master is right. And just like that, the man was done for. Tran Lak called Tiu Hak back into the car, and they sped off, ignoring the zombies along the way. Since the roads in this area were narrow, Tiu Hak had to lure the zombies away. Tran Lak smirked. Once Tiu Hak runs off, the zombies will return, and then they'll become my free security guards. Let's see if anyone dares to steal my car now. As he drove, he thought, my rebirth shouldn't have changed the world too much, so Dai Tru should still be safe. After clearing out some zombies in a nearby mansion, Tran Lak collected their energy crystals. He had no idea how many he had gathered by now. But at the moment, he had a bigger problem. He had no clue where Dai Tru was hiding. Looks like I'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. Without hesitation, he ran around shouting, Dai Tru, where are you? On the other side, Dai Tru heard his voice. The girl next to him panicked. Don't go over there, that guy is crazy. If he shouts like that, won't he attract all the zombies? Dai Tru hesitated. If he ran out now, he could put both of them in danger. Why is Tran Xie looking for me like this? Tran Lak kept calling out, making Dai Tru feel like he had to do something. The girl clung to him and pleaded, if you go, take me with you. Don't leave me here alone. Just then, they looked down and saw a few zombies heading toward Tran Lak. But before they could even get close, smack! With a single swing, the zombie was completely stunned. Watching this, Dai Tru couldn't help but be amazed. Tran Xie is so strong. Finally, He gathered his courage and shouted, "Tran Ca, I'm over here." Tran Lak turned toward the voice and was surprised. Wait, that's Tran Tin? How could I forget about this two-faced snake? In his past life, she had made Dai Tru suffer terribly. She was so cautious that she wouldn't even drink water unless Dai Tru tested it first. This manipulative woman didn't just flirt with Dai Tru, she even tried to seduce Tran Lak to secure food and supplies. Tran Lak walked up to her and smirked. Tran Tin, if you try your tricks again in this life, don't blame me for exposing you to Dai Tru. Then he turned to Dai Tru. Come with me, we can watch each other's backs. Tran Tin quickly put on a sweet smile and waved. Hello, brother Tran, Dai Tru has told me so much about you. Tran Lak ignored her. Let's get out of here. If zombies show up, it'll be troublesome. Tran Tin clenched her jaw in frustration but quickly forced a smile. Yes, of course, she thought to herself. I need to stay close to these two. If I stick with them, I'll be safe. Soon, they arrived at a luxurious mansion. Tran Tin glanced around and was surprised. This place looked untouched by the apocalypse. If I wait here for the government's rescue, I can use that as leverage to control Tran Lak. Two birds with one stone. Suddenly, their stomachs growled. Tran Lak turned to them. Hungry? Don't rush. I'll find something to eat. But inside, he was thinking, there's no way I'm letting this snake manipulate us again. A moment later, he casually pulled out some food from his spatial storage. Then he glanced at Tiu Hak and grinned mischievously. She made us suffer so much in our past lives. A little payback won't hurt. With a smirk, he wiped the bread against Tiu Hak's butt. Tiu Hak yelped in shock. What the hell, master? Lam Nu brought out 2 pieces of bread and said, this is all we have left. Let's share it. Dai Tru, being kind-hearted, said, Tran Ca, save one for me. No worries, Tran Lak replied, tossing a piece to Tran Tin. Girls have smaller stomachs, so take the smaller one. Tran Tin smiled sweetly. Thank you, brother Tran. But deep down, she was fuming. This tiny piece? How am I supposed to get full off this? Still, she forced a bright smile and took a bite. Meanwhile, Tiu Hak stared at her in disbelief. She's really eating it? Her taste is insane. Asterisk. Watching her eat, Tran Lak grinned in satisfaction. But he knew he had to act fast. If he wanted to eliminate future threats, he had to expose her true nature soon. Tran Lak said to Dai Tru, zombies are everywhere. We need to figure out a way to get to the supermarket and gather supplies. Dai Tru replied, as long as I have my electric baseball bat, no zombie can touch you as long as I'm alive. Tran Lak chuckled. Even so, there are still a lot of zombies. Little sister, you may be small, but your speed doesn't seem too bad. Pointing at her, Tran Lak declared, Dai Tru and I will go to the supermarket, and you'll lure the zombies away. After that, we'll regroup at home. She was stunned. If you want to eat, you have to work for it. If you don't work but still want to eat, you're just a freeloader. Putting on a pitiful expression, she whimpered, I'm really weak. I can't run fast. If I do this, I'll die. Tran Lak raised an eyebrow. Then what can you do? After a moment, he sighed. Fine, I'll lure the zombies instead. You and Dai Tru can go gather supplies. She clutched her chest dramatically. It's not that I don't want to help, but I'm afraid I'll be too weak and end up slowing everyone down. Tran Lak narrowed his eyes. So basically, you want Dai Tru and me to take all the risks while you sit back and enjoy the rewards? She fumed inside. Is this guy insane? He actually expects a girl like me to take action? Turning to Dai Tru, she tried to play the damsel in distress. Brother Dai Tru, but before she could finish, Tran Lak cut in. He knew exactly what she was trying to do, manipulate Dai Tru into speaking up for her. Clearing his throat, Tran Lak said, I haven't had a drink all morning, so my throat's a bit dry. I really should have brought more water. I don't even know if the water outside is safe to drink. Then he pointed at her. Why don't you test it first? If you do, I won't make you go. She nearly exploded with rage. He wants to use me as a test subject? I haven't dared to drink anything since this all started. She still had a bottle of water. But with Dai Tru around, she didn't dare drink it. He might ask her to share. Suddenly, she glanced at Tiu Hak and smirked. That's it, we can let it drink the water first as an experiment. Tiu Hak's eyes widened in disbelief. I may not be human, but you, lady, are truly heartless. Furious, Tiu Hak lunged at her. Baring its teeth, she quickly used her bag as a shield. When her bag hit the ground, food and drinks spilled out. Tran Lak bent down, picked up a bottle, and smirked. Oh, you sure brought a lot of supplies. Then he casually poked a straw into the bottle. I don't like sharing drinks with dirty people like you. Taking a sip, He handed a snack to Dai Tru. Eat up, once we're full, we'll head out. Dai Tru hesitated as he took the snack. He had risked his life to save her. Yet, as he took a bite, a realization hit him. She never planned to share. She wanted to hoard everything for herself. She suddenly lunged forward, screaming, "No, that's mine, put it down right now." But Tran Lak simply lifted his foot, just as expected. She tripped and fell flat on her face. Even after face planting, she still had the audacity to shout, "Two grown men bullying a weak girl. Do you even call yourselves men?" Tran Lak sipped his water calmly. "Why don't you ask the zombies if they care whether you're a man or a woman?" Though her true colors were showing, it still wasn't enough to make Dai Tru truly angry. Tran Lak knew he had to push things a little further. Looking down at her, he asked, "Why are you crying? We're eating now so we'll have energy to find supplies later. We'll even pay you back double once we're done." She hesitated. "That's true. Right now, I can't afford to turn them against me." She quickly switched gears, sniffling. "I was wrong. I shouldn't have hidden supplies from you. I'm really sorry." Hearing her fake apology, Tran Lak scoffed. "Damn, she's a master at lying." Turning to Dai Tru, he said, "Let's head to the supermarket. I'll go ahead and prepare. You two can have your little chat." As he stepped outside, he ordered Tiu Hack to lure over a dozen zombies to their location. Tiu Hack tilted its head. "Why are we bringing zombies to our own doorstep?" Meanwhile, Tran Lak tossed a few garlic cloves in his hand and smirked. The real show is just beginning. He stepped back inside and called out, "Hey, take a look at this." Dai Tru frowned. "Why are you squeezing garlic juice?" "Tran Ca?" Tran Lak grinned. "Bet you guys don't know this. Garlic can repel zombies. Just like in the movies." His eyes gleamed mischievously. "Let's see if our dear green tea schemer takes the bait." "Too bad," he sighed. "There's only enough garlic water for 2 people. Before he even finished speaking, Tiu Hack's signal came. The zombies had arrived. Tran Lak smirked. "All right, Tran Tin, let's see if you're desperate enough to fight for it." Tran Tin turned around and froze. Oh no, the zombies were already hammering against the metal gate. Without hesitation, Tran Lak dumped the garlic water over his head and shouted, "Hurry up, Dai Tru, pour it on yourself." But Dai Tru hesitated. He turned to Tran Tin, as if considering giving her his share. Even though he was beginning to resent her, it still wasn't enough for him to abandon her. Tran Tin stared at the bowl of garlic water. Her true nature finally exposed. Just as Dai Tru reached out to hand it to her, she snatched it and poured it over her own head. Dai Tru was stunned. "I was going to give it to you." Tran Lak smirked. "See that, Dai Tru? In the apocalypse, you can't trust just anyone. You need to judge people carefully, because some of them aren't even worth being called human anymore." Tran Tin turned to him. Furious. "You tricked me." Tran Lak scoffed. "Or was it just your own rotten nature showing?" Leaning in close, he whispered, "You're finished. Zombies have an extremely sharp sense of smell when it comes to garlic." She trembled. Didn't you say garlic repels zombies?" "I was just trying to survive. What's wrong with that?" Tran Lak patted her shoulder. "Survival isn't wrong, but at least be honest about it. A manipulative snake like you doesn't even deserve to be eaten by zombies." Reaching into his spatial storage, he thought, once she's dead, she won't be able to cause trouble anymore. As for Dai Tru, I'll make sure he keeps his mouth shut. Tran Tin's expression shifted between fear and disbelief. She finally realized that Tran Lak had planned this all along. He had poured garlic water on himself before the zombies even arrived. Tran Lak turned to Dai Tru. "Stay back, you might get in the way." Panicked, Tran Tin rushed toward Tran Lak. Her voice suddenly soft and pleading. "You can do whatever you want to me, just don't let me die." Tran Lak didn't even look at her. "Go die, pig." At that moment, the zombies swarmed. She screamed, "What did I ever do to you?" A second later, the horde descended on her, ripping her apart. Tran Lak made quick work of the remaining zombies, wiping them all out. Dai Tru, now wearing armor, stepped forward and saw what was left of Tran Tin. He felt a flicker of emotion. But there was no time for sentimentality. They had to clear the bodies before more zombies came. Exhausted from the battle, Tran Lak dragged the corpses outside, his mind wandering to someone else. Ma Nok, the chef. Since the apocalypse began, I wonder if she managed to find a safe place to hide. At this moment, Tran Lak was deeply worried about Ma Nok. He didn't know whether she was still alive, but now was not the time to dwell on it. Turning to Dai Tru, he thought, in this apocalypse, I should help him as a way to repay the debt from my past life. Suddenly, an idea came to him, and he called out, "Tiu Hack, do you see all that water flowing out? I'll use a cloth to soak it up, then wring it dry, since cleaning is your responsibility. You'd better get to work. No food until you're done. Tiu Hak couldn't help but think. Master, you truly are heartless. Just then, Dai Tru walked over and said, Tran Lak, let's head to the supermarket to get some food and supplies. Tran Lak waved his hand dismissively. No need to rush, I've got better food right here. A moment later, he revealed a pile of fresh food and fruit, leaving Dai Tru utterly shocked. Where did you get all this? Tran Lak picked up a can of water. Haven't you noticed any changes in your body since the apocalypse started? Hearing that, Dai Tru suddenly recalled the intense headache he had experienced that morning, followed by a strange surge of energy flowing through his body. Tran Lak took a bite of food and explained, this kind of change, I already had it before the apocalypse. He then demonstrated his ability, revealing his personal storage space. I can manipulate my own dimension to store supplies. Realization dawned on Dai Tru. So some people awaken special abilities after the apocalypse. Tran Lak raised his drink with a smirk. I have a feeling we'll be good brothers. Let's toast to that. Looking at the feast on the table, Dai Tru sighed. There's too much food. We won't be able to finish it all. We should save some for later. Tran Lak shrugged. If we can't finish it, there's always Tiu Hak. Tiu Hak thought to himself. Even if it's just leftovers, I'd still be grateful, master. But then, feeling pitiful, he whimpered, but am I really the one who has to clean the floor? After eating, Tran Lak handed Dai Tru a few energy crystals. These can help you level up. Dai Tru looked confused. Where did you get these? Tran Lak grinned. From zombie brains. Seeing Dai Tru's reaction, he added, get some rest. Tomorrow, we'll go hunt for more. We need to get stronger if we want to survive. Then, he smirked. Oh, and don't call me Tran Ka anymore. Just call me An. That night, lying in bed, Tran Lak began testing his abilities. Normally, he could absorb about 8 crystals at a time. But this time, he kept counting 20 and then more. Suddenly, an intense pain shot through his head. I actually leveled up. In his past life, it had taken him 14 days to reach level 2. Yet here he was, achieving it in a single night. And strangely, it felt like he could absorb even more. Curious, he continued absorbing crystals, wondering what his limit was. He soon found that he could create an energy sword. But it disappeared quickly. Completely drained, he collapsed onto his bed. Unbelievable, I just absorbed 42 crystals and even created a void sword. Comparing this to his past life, he realized that at this rate, he might reach level 4 and gain the ability to walk through space, something that had taken him until level 9 in his previous life. Furthermore, reaching the king level, which allowed control over dimensional gates, seemed much closer than before. The next morning, Dai Tru stretched. Your training method actually works. I feel much stronger. I absorbed about 7 crystals last night. Tiu Hak barked excitedly 9 times. Tran Lak glanced at him. You absorbed 8 crystals? Not bad. Hearing that, Dai Tru was shocked. Even Tiu Hak absorbed more than me? Tran Lak handed him a bat and a suit of armor. Don't underestimate Tiu Hak. His potential is much higher than yours. Try on this armor. Once we're done eating, we'll head to the food warehouse. Outside the mansion, after breakfast, they stepped outside, only to find their car surrounded by zombies. Tran Lak gave a thumbs up. I have to admit, using zombies as security guards isn't a bad idea. Dai Tru frowned. There are too many of them. Should we? Tran Lak cut him off. Don't attack. They're guarding the car for free. Let Tiu Hak lure them away instead. Tiu Hak immediately dashed forward, barking to get the zombies' attention. Watching this, Dai Tru felt a bit uneasy. Why does Tiu Hak seem more useful than me? Tran Lak chuckled. Come on, don't compare yourself to a dog. Even I wouldn't want to do what he does. Dai Tru hesitated, but Tran Lak smirked. He'd even eat sh*t if needed. I wouldn't. Hearing that, Tiu Hak's ears perked up, and he barked angrily. When did I ever eat sh*t? With the zombies successfully lured away, the group finally left the mansion, ready for their next mission. Tran Lak found the food warehouse strange. There were so many people here. Had they all perished? Despite all the commotion, no one was calling for help. The warehouse had several large underground bunkers, so they had likely taken refuge there. He parked the car and began searching for a way down. Before long, they found an entrance to the underground storage. Suddenly, Tran Lak noticed something, a skeleton. Normally, zombies wouldn't strip a body so clean. Could it be that some animals in the warehouse had mutated? A sense of unease crept up his spine. If mutated rats or ants had appeared, that would be a serious problem. As they moved forward, they passed countless skeletons. This is too risky, Tran Lak thought. Even if we don't get any food, our lives are more important. Just then, a sudden noise interrupted their thoughts. Tran Lak shouted, "It's the rats! Run!" Immediately, Tiu Hak and the others bolted. Behind them, a terrifying horde of starving rats chased after them, desperate for their next meal. Once they reached the outside, a rat suddenly appeared in front of Tiu Hak. "Be careful," Tran Lak warned. But soon, even more rats swarmed toward them. Among them, one stood out. It was much larger than the rest. The massive rat pointed at Tran Lak and spoke. "That human looks delicious. Follow me." Tran Lak's expression darkened. A leader? No wonder. In an instant, the Rat King leapt toward them, slamming into Tran Lak's back. His armor absorbed most of the impact, but he was still knocked to the ground. Seeing this, Dai Tru became extremely worried. Things were quickly spiraling out of control. Dai Tru clenched his fists. He couldn't just keep running. Meanwhile, Tran Lak watched the swarm of rats closing in and felt sheer terror. He quickly pulled out his electric baseball bat and began smashing the smaller rats. On the other side, Dai Tru was also under attack. Tran Lak rushed over, swinging his bat to help clear the way. "Thank God for this electric bat, it can actually kill these things," he muttered. But the Rat King was different. It wasn't like the others. Even as countless rats fell, their sheer numbers made them overwhelming. Looking at the Rat King, Tran Lak couldn't help but be impressed. This thing has awakened an advanced ability. Its movements aren't random at all. Most creatures, including zombies, needed time to grow stronger. But some mutated at an abnormal rate, their power skyrocketing in an instant. However, the stronger they became, the shorter their lifespan. Running into one alive is like stepping in shit, Tran Lak thought. Just then, Dai Tru was knocked to the ground by the rats. The Rat King seized the opportunity and lunged at him. Thinking fast, Dai Tru swung his bat at the creature. But it barely flinched. Instead, it kept charging, its fangs bared, ready to bite. In a last-ditch effort, Dai Tru arched his body, causing the rat to bite down on his metal chest plate instead. Even so, the steel bent under the pressure. Lying on the ground, he trembled. "If it bites me again, it'll tear right through." Seeing this, Tran Lak grew anxious. The Rat King is probably around level 3 or 4. Without hesitation, he retrieved 2 pieces of fresh meat from his storage space, tossing them toward the swarm in an attempt to distract them. Then, he rushed in to save Dai Tru. "If I hadn't leveled up last night, I'd be dead right now." The Rat King looked at Tran Lak and scoffed. "You think that little stick of yours can stop me? I'll finish him off first, then deal with you." Tran Lak lunged forward, hoping his void sword would last long enough. "Die, you filthy rat." The Rat King turned in surprise. Where did that glowing sword come from? In a flash, Tran Lak swung his void blade at the creature. After a fierce battle, he finally took the Rat King's energy crystal. "Damn, this thing is huge," he muttered, looking at Dai Tru, who had finally gotten back on his feet. Tran Lak smirked. "Its fangs are massive," he said. "I could make a weapon out of them." Catching on, Dai Tru stepped forward to break off the fangs. But they were much harder than expected. "Damn, these things are huge. At first, I thought they'd be tiny. But holy shit." Watching Tran Lak store the fang in his spatial dimension, Dai Tru asked curiously, "Just how big is that space of yours?" Tran Lak opened the dimensional gate and smirked. "Not that big, probably about the size of this food warehouse." Then, he turned serious. "Listen, don't tell anyone about this. No matter who they are. You keep your mouth shut." After everything that happened with Tran Tin, Dai Tru had become much more clear-headed. "Don't worry," he assured Tran Lak. "I won't tell anyone about this." By then, the sky had already darkened, surprising them both. Did we really spend all day just fighting rats in that warehouse? As Tran Lak rummaged through the food storage, he muttered, "Looks like the power's been cut off." Before long, the two of them returned to the villa. "Today was really dangerous, Dai Tru," Tran Lak said. "We need to level up quickly if we want to survive." He handed a device to Dai Tru and continued. "I checked. It'll take about 3 days to reach level 3. Let's just stay home and play games to pass the time." And with that, the decision was made. Dinner time. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Looking at the pile of dirty dishes, Tran Lak sighed. "Tiu Hak, if only you could wash dishes too." Tiu Hak was speechless. "Can you just act like a normal human for once?" Tran Lak gulped down a bottle of water and turned to Tiu Hak. "By the way, I think you leveled up to level 2 the other day, right?" Tiu Hak barked in response. "There's an old saying," Tran Lak continued, "a good dog needs training to become strong. Go fight some zombies and practice." Tiu Hak was so done that he didn't even want to respond to his master anymore. Just as he was about to leave, Tran Lak called him back. For a brief moment, Tiu Hak thought his owner had changed his mind and wouldn't send him out. But instead, Tran Lak handed him a few trash bags. Take these out while you're at it. Watching this, Tran Lak sighed, sweeping, taking out the trash. You really are a full-grown dog now. But if I don't tell you, you never take the initiative. On the side, Dai Tru couldn't help but feel bad for Tiu Hak. Meanwhile, Tran Lak's thoughts drifted to Ma Nok. He really wished she could take care of his daily needs. Damn, I really am a capitalist, he thought. He recalled that there was a 5-star hotel nearby. Ma Nok had been staying there. After reaching level 3, he decided he'd go find her. That night, as he lay in bed, he continued his training. Before long, he felt something stir in his mind. Grabbing his head, he grinned with satisfaction. In my past life, it took me half a month to reach level 3. But now, just 3 days. He continued absorbing the energy crystals in his hands. At this level, he could extend his Void Sword duration from 5 seconds to 20 seconds. It wasn't much, but it was enough for combat. Stretching, he decided to rest for the night. Tomorrow morning, he would set out to find Ma Nok. The next day, at an abandoned hotel, there's a staff dormitory over there. Dai Tru said from behind him. Let's clear out the remaining zombies first. Then head over. While fighting off the zombies, a man suddenly crawled toward them, begging for help. His name was Lu Van Bak, a hotel employee. Tran Lak was surprised. After half an hour of fighting zombies, they actually found a living person. He turned to him and asked, "Do you know Ma Nok?" Yes, I do. Lu Van Bak responded immediately. Which room is she in? He pointed to a room across the hall. She was staying there, but she's not here now. On the day of the outbreak, she left for a conference. Hearing this, Tran Lak grabbed his collar. Take me there. I'll give you supplies in return. Meanwhile, Ma Nok was hiding with a group of survivors, including the hotel manager and a rising star named Lam Ynhi. Lam Ynhi shoved Ma Nok aside. Stay away from me, there's barely enough space here. Ma Nok could only endure in silence. But Lam Ynhi grew even more aggressive. She grabbed Ma Nok by the hair and sneered. Do you even know who I am? As they struggled, a businessman, the supposed leader of the group, spoke up. I think we have enough food to last us, he said, but if she refuses to listen, we should just throw her out. Shockingly, the hotel manager agreed. Ma Nok, there's no more space here. You should find somewhere else. Hearing this, Lam Ynhi smirked in satisfaction. Even in the apocalypse, the manager still put on a righteous act. For the greater good, he said, please leave and find another place. What a bunch of scumbags. They were actually planning to throw Ma Nok to the zombies. Lam Ynhi kicked her toward the exit. This is what you get for standing against me. Outside, a group of zombies caught sight of her and began charging forward. Ma Nok was furious, but she was powerless to do anything. She clenched her fists. If only someone could kill these bastards for me. I'd pay any price. But before she could finish that thought, she saw something unexpected. 2 zombies lunged at her. She shut her eyes, bracing for death. But instead, a foot came out of nowhere and sent the zombies flying. A familiar voice called out. Ma Nok. Tran Lak approached her. Are you hurt? He asked. Internally, he thought. Finally, I found a chef. I need her to cook for me. Seeing him, Ma Nok was overjoyed. Tran Lak, thank you so much. But before she could say anything else, he covered her mouth. Shush, let us take care of the zombies first. Then we'll get you out of here. Tran Lak and Dai Tru fought together, eliminating the approaching zombies. Seeing this, the hotel manager and Lam Ynhi were overjoyed, thinking that someone had come to rescue them. As the last zombie fell, Lam Ynhi immediately ran forward. Thank you, heroes, for saving us. I'm Lam Ynhi. It's a pleasure to meet you both. This woman was truly delusional. She even imagined that these 2 might be her fans. Ignoring her completely, Tran Lak turned to Ma Nok. Do you need me to stand up for you? Ma Nok, feeling wronged, said, well, it's my own fault too. I tried to save them, and they repaid me by kicking me out. Tran Lak nodded. That's why being a good person is so difficult. The businessman suddenly spoke up. If you take me home and work for me, I'll pay you 200 yuan a month. Hearing this, Dai Tru scoffed and waved his hand dismissively. So what if you have money? I despise people like you. Repaying kindness with betrayal. A hotel staff member who had been watching shivered in fear. He never expected Tran Lak and Dai Tru to slap the businessman so hard that he nearly lost his teeth. Yet, the businessman still raised his voice. I admit I was wrong for treating your friend that way. But if you take me back to the safe zone, I'll give you whatever you want. Tran Lak turned around and said coldly. Too bad. I have one rule, if you're my enemy, you must die. Activating his dimensional ability, he continued, since you've offended my chef? He smirked. I'll tie you all up. Whether you live or die is up to fate. The businessman panicked. What you're doing is no different from murder. Lam Ynhi still refused to give up. She struggled toward Tran Lak, pleading desperately. Save me, just me, please. Then she even tried to seduce him. I'll do whatever you want, Tilda. Tran Lak simply replied. Get lost. I don't deal with filth like you. Even while being tied up, she still muttered. I haven't showered in days, of course I'm a little dirty. You can help me wash up if you want, Tilda. Without hesitation, Tran Lak stuffed a cloth into her mouth. Let's go. Let them fend for themselves. As they were leaving, a young staff member hurried after them. Big bro, can I come with you? Tran Lak turned back. What do you have to offer? The guy hesitated, trying to think of something. Before he could answer, Tran Lak picked up a wooden staff and handed it to him. Kill 10 zombies, and you can join us. Of course, the guy didn't dare. I can't. Tran Lak shook his head. I gave you a chance. Too bad you didn't take it. After rescuing Manhwa from the zombies and those ungrateful people, Tran Lak, despite refusing to let the young man join his team, still decided to help him. He raised his hand, giving the guy 3 minutes to gather whatever supplies he could find. After that, Tran Lak would escort him back to the dormitory as a token of gratitude. At the same time, Tran Lak persuaded Manhwa to become their cook. Turning to her, he reassured, I'll provide everything you need, so you don't have to worry about anything. Hearing this, Manhwa immediately agreed. In a world like this, who wouldn't accept such an offer? Tran Lak was pleased to have her on board. Once the young man finished gathering supplies, they would head back to the villa together. There's plenty of food at my place, Tran Lak said, but only you can turn it into something delicious. Seeing the abundance of ingredients, Manhwa was thrilled. A while later, they arrived at the villa. Tran Lak asked her, have you awakened any abilities yet? In this post-apocalyptic world, some people had developed supernatural powers to fight against the zombies. Manhwa hesitated. I've been too hungry to notice. Then try following my instructions and see if you've awakened anything, Tran Lak suggested. She closed her eyes and focused. As he instructed, within seconds, a small flame appeared in her palm. Both of them were shocked. She had awakened a fire ability. Tran Lak smirked. If it's fire, then this is just perfect. She could cook in any situation, and the food would likely taste even better. An hour and a half later, the dining table was filled with delicious dishes. Tran Lak and Dai Tru couldn't hide their excitement. In the apocalypse, they had been surviving on canned food or poorly prepared meals. No matter how hard they tried, nothing could compare to Manhwa's cooking. The two of them and Tiu Hak ate happily while showering her with praise. This tofu is amazing. This braised meat is perfect. Even Tiu Hak barked in agreement. After the meal, Manhwa started cleaning up, but Tran Lak told her to focus on organizing her room instead. He pointed to the room next door and said, if you need anything, just let me know, and I'll get it for you. Before leaving, he reminded her, washing dishes is fine, but don't let any water get into your mouth. Knowing how important communication was, Tran Lak handed her a new phone. If you ever get bored, you can use this. We'll be staying inside for the next few days to focus on training and leveling up our abilities. A few days later, Tran Lak had fully developed his level 3 ability. At this pace, it wouldn't be long before he regained the dominance he once had in his past life. Even while brushing his teeth, he was thinking about the sisters, Mi Lin and Lilap. If they joined the team, there would be no worries in battle. He knew now wasn't the right time, but he still had to find them soon. If he delayed any longer, someone else might recruit them first. After all, one had been a king-tier fighter in the previous life, and the other had powerful healing abilities. Losing such a valuable duo would be a huge mistake. Now, Tran Lak and Dai Tru set out to search for more energy crystals. Manhwa, no matter what happens, don't open the door, even if someone is dying right in front of you. Do not open it, Tran Lak instructed. He handed her a staff and added, don't even peek outside, keep the doors locked at all times. Understanding the danger, Manhwa nodded firmly. Got it, don't worry. An hour later, somewhere in the city, Tran Lak and Dai Tru were fighting zombies. They were getting exhausted, but they had collected nearly 500 crystals. Hell yeah, we're loaded now. Tran Lak grinned. I remember those sisters lived just up ahead. Dai Tru, take the supplies back to the car and rest. I'll take Tiu Hak and check it out. Not long after, Tran Lak arrived at a high-rise building. He recalled that they lived in room 201. Tiu Hak, Sniff around and see if they're still there. Tran Lak ordered. Yes, master, Tiu Hak replied, sniffing the air carefully. Suddenly, Tiu Hak growled and leapt forward. What the? Oh, it's just a cat. It seemed that Tiu Hak, after being alone for so long, was thinking about making a move on the cat. Tran Lak raised an eyebrow. Could this be their pet? Tiu Hak grabbed the cat, thinking to himself, bringing this thing back as a pet wouldn't be bad. Huh? Tran Lak saw Tiu Hak acting aggressively and quickly rushed over to stop him. Tiu Hak, don't hurt it. The kitten, terrified, shouted in its mind, you crazy dog. Hearing the cat's inner voice, Tran Lak was taken aback. No way, this cat has awakened its spiritual awareness. He folded his arms and sighed. Tiu Hak, how could you be so rude to a lady? Lifting the kitten gently, Tran Lak said, you have to be gentle with girls. You know? Tiu Hak scoffed internally. Fine, everything's my fault, okay? Using his own spiritual sense, Tran Lak communicated with the cat. The kitten grumbled, that guy is so annoying. Tran Lak chuckled, yeah, super annoying. Just a second later, the kitten suddenly sniffed the air, eyes lighting up. Wait a minute, you ate fish, didn't you? Tran Lak was startled. How does it know? Instinct? Regardless, he saw this as an opportunity to win over the awakened kitten. At that moment, a voice from above shouted, put down my comm. Tran Lak looked up, startled. Holy crap, it's me Lap, the very person I've been looking for. He glanced at the cat in confusion. Wait, she calls it comm. In his past life, she never had a cat. Milap stormed down, yelling again. I said, put down my comm. Ignoring Tran Lak completely, she rushed over and snatched the kitten from his arms. Comm, I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention and let that guy grab you. Tran Lak noticed she was alone. It seemed she and her sister weren't together. Well, I can't just leave her here by herself. The kitten suddenly wriggled violently. It had just realized something important. This guy has delicious fish. He's not a bad person. Within seconds, it broke free from Milap's grasp and ran straight to Tran Lak. Milap stood frozen. What the hell? The kitten looked up at Tran Lak with determined eyes. I haven't had fish in a week. It cried. Tran Lak was speechless, but he knew this was his chance to recruit Milap. Scooping up the kitten, he smirked. You want fish? Then let's go to the supermarket. I'm sure there's plenty there. Then he turned to Milap. Why don't we team up to gather supplies? She hesitated for a moment. The kitten spoke to her telepathically. I can sense he doesn't have bad intentions. Milap felt conflicted. After all, Tran Lak was just a stranger. Comm scoffed. Fine, you stay home. I'll go with him. Just like before, I'll bring food back for you. Milap's face turned red. No, I'm coming too, she said quickly. Just give me a second to grab my things. A moment later, she returned, fully geared up. Tran Lak nearly burst out laughing. Damn, she really came prepared. Dai Tru arrived but said nothing. Tran Lak introduced him to Milap to put her at ease. We're all in the same boat now, so you don't have to worry. Milap was surprised when she saw Tiu Hak shoot out a bolt of electricity. So it's not just Comm with special abilities. Tran Lak nodded. I'm Tran Lak. My ability is spatial manipulation, like a mage. What about you? You already know Comm can communicate with humans. She replied. As for me, I'm Milap. My ability is similar to a healer's. As they talked, a horde of zombies suddenly charged toward them. Step aside, we'll handle this, Tran Lak ordered, but Milap shook her head. I can boost your strength. She immediately activated her ability, enhancing their power and restoring their stamina. Tran Lak's body felt lighter, filled with overwhelming energy. Whoa, this power boost is insane. Just as he marveled at it, a zombie broke past him, lunging straight for Milap. Tran Lak's eyes widened. Of course, it goes for the healer first. Watch out, he shouted, but Milap clenched her fists. I've never fought a zombie before, she admitted. Might as well use this one for practice. I'll have to fight eventually. Tran Lak stared at her. She looks fragile on the outside, but she has a strong spirit. There's no way I'm letting her go now. After finishing off the zombie, Tran Lak had Dai Tru hand her a staff. She gripped it tightly, gazing at the undead. I have to be strong. I can't be afraid. Just as another zombie reached for her, she took action. Wham! She smashed it right on the head. Then she swung again, straight across its face. It was already dead, but she didn't stop. Whack, whack, whack. Even Tran Lak took a step back. Mental note. Don't piss her off. When she finally stopped, she ran to the side and threw up. Tran Lak stood beside her, smiling as he praised. That was a great hit. Keep it up. He handed her a bottle of water and spoke gently. You must be thirsty. Have a drink. Seeing how kind Tran Lak was, Milap felt touched. She took the bottle and thanked him. Meanwhile, the little cat watching from the side seemed annoyed. Are we going to the supermarket to find fish, or are you two just flirting here? At that moment, they were on the second floor of a shopping mall, having already taken down quite a few zombies. Tran Lak handed Milap a bag. Go grab whatever supplies you can. Take as much as possible. The cat, of course, didn't forget to remind him. Don't forget to get me some fish. Looking at the cat, Tran Lak thought, even if it has awakened its spiritual awareness, how is it this sharp-witted already? Still, the way it spoke so fluently intrigued him. He picked up a piece of fish, thinking, a rare cat like this, it'd be a waste not to keep it. Go ahead, eat up, it's fresh fish, he coaxed. Then, with a sly smile, he added, stick with me, and I'll even get you some grilled fish later. Hearing that, the cat was instantly delighted. Meanwhile, Milap was happily gathering supplies, unaware that a zombie was slowly creeping up behind her. Tiu Hak immediately barked in warning. Hearing the bark, Milap turned around, confused. Where the hell did this fat-ass zombie come from? She instinctively backed up to get a clearer look, but in her panic, she tripped and fell, right in front of the massive zombie. The grotesque creature groaned, I'm hungry, let me eat you. Terrified, Milap hurled her staff at its face. Get lost, get lost. Seizing the moment, she scrambled to her feet and ran. But just as she took off, she slammed straight into something solid. It was Tran Lak. Seeing the massive zombie, he was taken aback. A breakthrough-type zombie? No way. This thing looks just like the Devourers from my past life. He recalled how terrifying their strength and defense were, capable of using shockwaves and even self-detonation. Stepping in front of Milap, Tran Lak analyzed the creature. Judging by its aura, this one's a third-tier breakthrough type. Taking it down won't be easy. Milap trembled behind him, watching as Tran Lak prepared to unleash his power. A glowing energy formed in his palm, the same energy as the divine annihilation technique. Seizing the opportunity, Tiu Hak launched a sudden attack while the zombie was distracted. At the same time, Tran Lak summoned a phantom sword and charge. Die, you rotten pig! In a split second, the zombie was sliced clean in half. Tran Lak turned to Milap and reassured her. It's over. Don't look, it's too disgusting. Milap stared at him in awe. One strike, he took down such a massive zombie in one hit? So cool. Tran Lak grabbed her hand. Let's go, I'll take you to my place. Not long after, he told her, alright, you can open your eyes now. We're here. She opened them and was instantly struck by how handsome he looked. Why didn't I notice before? Tran Lak caught her staring in a daze and was a bit confused. Milap, feeling embarrassed, quickly turned away. Meanwhile, Tran Lak thought to himself, what's with her reaction? Still, he couldn't deny that this special zombie had made it easier to get her on his side. He patted her head lightly. The hero saving the beauty might be a cliché, but it always works. Milap, why don't you join our team? He asked. It'll be easier to handle any situation together. Besides, they had gathered plenty of supplies. Why not enjoy a proper dinner? But Milap hesitated, worried about her sister. If my sister comes home and I'm not there, she'll be really worried. She explained, can I wait for her first? The little cat immediately chimed in. Don't turn him down, please. Just go with Tran Lak. You already wrote her a note, didn't you? And besides, he has grilled fish and delicious food. Milap felt helpless. Even her own cat was against her. She turned to Tran Lak. Is your place far from here? Tran Lak chuckled. Not at all. As soon as they arrived, a table full of food was already waiting. Milap was shocked. Hey, it's my first time here. But you didn't have to go all out like this. The cat, drooling at the sight, was already on the verge of tears. Tran Lak smiled at her. Don't worry about it, we're family now. Eat as much as you like. With that, both the cat and Milap dug into the golden carp, their eyes tearing up from sheer happiness. This fish is even more delicious than they imagined. After finishing the meal, Milap expressed her gratitude but said she had to return home. She was worried that her sister would be concerned about her. Tran Lak replied, it's already late, going back alone would be too dangerous. Then, he added, actually, if we all moved there, it wouldn't be a problem. I wonder how far manhwa,Capped and Tiu Hak have gotten with their preparations. Hearing this, Milap was overjoyed. She hadn't expected that Tran Lak and the others would agree to live with her. Alright, it's decided then, I'll get everything ready for the move. Tran Lak said, Tiu Hak, let's move to our new home together. Before long, they arrived at Milap's house. Suddenly, Lap suggested. Why don't you all just stay at my place? There are 4 rooms, enough for everyone. Seeing this as a great opportunity to protect everyone, Tran Lak immediately agreed. This way, they would all feel safer. After entering the house, Tran Lak cut open a watermelon and invited everyone to have some to cool off. Seeing how kind he was, Lap couldn't hold back her emotions. The outside world is so dangerous. Yet he always protects me. And now, he's even giving me my favorite fruit. Without thinking, she suddenly jumped up and hugged him. Meeting you has been the luckiest thing that ever happened to my sister and me. Tran Lak chuckled to himself. Well, my charm is just too much, nothing I can do about it. But then, he spoke seriously. From now on, we're all friends. Helping each other is only natural. So there's no need to be so formal. A moment later, his thoughts took a mischievous turn. Too bad I didn't meet her earlier. But at least she doesn't know I have a bit of a sharp tongue. Hee hee. Tran Lak turned to Lap and teased. So, you're choosing to hug me first before eating? Priorities, huh? That made her blush with embarrassment. Then, he asked, which rooms will everyone be staying in tonight? Lap pointed. Ma Nok, you can have this room. Dai True, just add an extra bed over there. That's my sister's art room. And this room is my sister's, so you can stay here. Tran Lak. Hearing that, Tran Lak felt something was off. What if Lin comes back? What am I supposed to do then? But he decided not to overthink it. Instead, he took out some crystals and handed them to Lap. Take these and practice your abilities. If you have any questions, just ask me. Then, he turned away. Go ahead and train, then get some rest. I'm going to my room now. As soon as he opened the door and stepped inside, he was shocked by what he saw. A certain little cat was lying on the bed, looking at him. Why did you take so long to get here? It meowed. The cat ran over and clung to Tran Lak's arm. Tonight, I'll sleep with you. Tomorrow, I'll sleep with Lap. Tran Lak picked up the cat and smirked. You really are a sly little thing. Huh? Always knowing how to butter people up. Alright then, let's do some ability training together tonight. The cat meowed in agreement. The next morning, a zombie was burning in flames. Shrieking in agony. 2 young men standing in front of it spoke in unison. Lin, we don't dare charge in. Why don't you go first? These 2 were Trong Chan and Vong Tan Vu. Lin's classmates. And the red-haired girl standing before them? Of course, that was Lin, the wielder of blazing flames. She sighed. These 2 are such a burden. If you're scared, just stay behind me instead of acting tough. The 2 guys quickly hid behind Lin. The zombies are charging, they shouted. With a determined expression, Lin threw a powerful punch. Boom! In an instant, a sea of fire engulfed the zombies. After finishing the fight, she couldn't help but sigh. Using my flames consumes way too much energy. Even at tier 2, fighting off so many zombies is exhausting. If even I struggle to survive, I have no idea how these 2 idiots are going to make it. Feeling safe again, the 2 guys stepped forward. Are all the zombies dead yet? Where should we go next? Lin pointed ahead. We're heading that way. She was deeply worried about her sister at home. Even though she had left behind a bar of chocolate, that alone wasn't enough to last. Meanwhile, Tran Lak turned to Ma Nok. Can you make grilled food? I feel like eating something grilled tonight. Ma Nok replied. I might not be as good as my teacher, but I'm definitely better than street vendors. Tran Lak grinned. Then let's grill on the rooftop. Hearing the noise outside, Lap ran out excitedly. Big sis, my sister's back. Tran Lak, standing behind her, had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Lin, I've been waiting for you. The 2 sisters rushed toward each other and hugged tightly. Overwhelmed with happiness, grateful that they had both survived. Tran Lak observed the scene and couldn't help but sigh. These 2 sisters really have a strong bond. But then, his attention shifted to the 2 young men standing next to Lin. Where the hell did these 2 come from? Meanwhile, the 2 guys were also eyeing Lap, thinking to themselves, her older sister is the school beauty. And she's not far behind. If we can get close to them, life's gonna be sweet. However, when they noticed Tran Lak, they were puzzled. Who the hell is this guy? Lin, concerned for her sister, asked. Lap, who is he? Lap immediately replied. He's the one who saved my life. His name is Tran Lak. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't have made it this far. Lin took a closer look at her sister, noticing how well she seemed. Looks like this Tran Lak guy has been taking good care of her. Meanwhile, the 2 classmates, realizing that Lin was too difficult to approach, decided to change targets to Lap instead. One of them suddenly pulled out a loaf of bread and said, Hey, Lap, I've got some bread for you. Go ahead and eat it. Not wanting to be outdone, the other one added, Mine's even better. Try this one. Mi Lap, overwhelmed by their sudden attention, felt a little uneasy. Tran Lak, standing to the side, looked at them with pure disdain. Then he said, "Let's head upstairs." Mi Lap quickly nodded. "Yeah, we really should. It's not safe here." Mi Lin sighed to herself. "I was stupid to bring these two along. I can't let them keep bothering my sister." Meanwhile, the two guys were thinking, our new life with the school beauty is just beginning. If we stay close, love will naturally bloom, right? As they entered the house, Mi Lin asked, "Do we still have food?" Tran Lak smirked. "Of course, but only if you join my team." Hee hee. Instead of answering directly, he turned to Ma Nok and said, "Cook some extra rice. After all, she's Mi Lap's sister. Even if we can't recruit her, at least let's give her a meal." Ma Nok looked confused. Weren't we supposed to have grilled food? Why the sudden change? But when he noticed the two newcomers trailing behind, he immediately understood Tran Lak's reasoning. The two guys spotted the kitchen and were surprised. Damn, they actually have water for cooking? Without hesitation, they rushed over and grabbed the water jug. Ignoring everyone else, they chugged it down greedily. "Hey, save some for me," one of them shouted, snatching the jug from the other. Ma Nok, disgusted by their behavior, scolded them. "Can't you at least pour it into cups like normal people?" One of them shot back. "Do you even know how much we suffered on the road? Drinking a little water. What's the big deal?" Tran Lak watched the scene unfold and immediately knew. Yeah, these two clowns gotta go. At that moment, the two idiots were still fantasizing. Living under the same roof as the school beauty, this is gonna be amazing. Too bad there's another guy here. Though. Then, one of them nudged the other and pointed. "Tan Vu, look over there." They both saw Tiu Hak lounging lazily nearby. Holy crap, a dog that hasn't been infected? Greedy thoughts filled their heads. Tonight's dinner is settled. They rushed over to Tran Lak. In times like these, resources are scarce. Why are you wasting food on a dog? Tiu Hak immediately sensed their bad intentions and bared its fangs. One of them feigned concern. What if this thing turns on Mi Lin or Mi Lap? Wouldn't it be dangerous? We should just cook it and have a proper meal. Tran Lak stepped forward, his voice ice cold. "I have enough food to feed it. But you two? Get the hell out." Still, they refused to back down. "Watch your mouth, punk. Have you even fought zombies before?" Tran Lak scoffed. "Why would I bother fighting them when I can just wipe out idiots like you?" The two morons turned to each other and sneered. "See? He hasn't fought any, so he's just a useless idiot." Huh? Then, they turned back to Mi Lin. "Mi Lin, we followed you through countless dangers to get here. And this guy is just wasting resources. Isn't that ridiculous?" Tan Vu added. "That's right, we need to cook the dog. If not, we'll starve." Hearing this, Mi Lin's patience snapped. "You two following me has been nothing but a burden. Do you think I don't know what disgusting thoughts you've been having?" She crossed her arms and declared. "From now on, everyone eats what they earn. No more freeloading. If you don't work, you don't eat. Now get lost." They were stunned but quickly got defensive. "You're seriously kicking us out? After everything we did for you?" Mi Lin's expression darkened. "All you did was slow me down and make me babysit you. Get out of here, now." Finally, their true colors showed. "Wow, I can't believe you're this heartless. We risked our lives for you." Mi Lin smirked. "This is who I am. Now get lost, you scumbags." Furious, they shouted. "Fine, we'll leave, but don't think this is over." As they stormed out, Tran Lak patted Tiu Hak's head and chuckled. "Make sure those trash bags die far away from here. Cleaning up their corpses would be such a hassle." Mi Lin, watching Tiu Hak run after them, started to worry. "Wait, why are you going after them? Don't throw yourself at those idiots." Outside, the two were still cursing under their breath. "We can't let those sisters get away with this." Tiu Hak, hearing that, grinned menacingly. "All right, time to send you two morons to hell." The two men heard the barking and turned around. "Haha, looks like the dog meat came running straight to us. Let's take it down now." But they never got the chance. Tiu Hak had already unleashed an electric shock, catching them completely off guard before they could react. Moments later, the dog casually trotted back while the two men were left writhing in pain. Meanwhile, on the other side, Mi Lap gently reminded her sister. "Take your time eating, there's plenty of rice left." Mi Lin turned to Tran Lak and said, "I ate quite a lot of your food. But don't worry, I'll make up for it by finding more supplies for everyone." Tran Lak simply replied, "Oh, you're done eating? Then I guess it's our turn now." Mi Lin, a bit concerned, asked, "Wait, did I eat so much that there's nothing left for you guys?" But just a second later, she was stunned to see Tran Lak casually sitting to the side, listing all the grilled dishes he wanted to eat. Her shock was immeasurable. After listing all the dishes he wanted, Tran Lak heard Ma Nok say, "I can make them right now." No problem, but it'll take time, at least an hour. Upon hearing that, Tran Lak immediately called Mi Lap. Come on, let's go. I need to talk to you in private. Mi Lin glanced at her sister, feeling suspicious. What exactly were they doing? Why were they going into a room together? Did that guy, Tran Lak, intend to do something to her little sister? Inside the room, Tran Lak pushed Mi Lap against the wall and said, Mi Lap, ever since you started following me, you haven't had to worry about food or water, have you? Mi Lap nodded. That's right. Tran Lak leaned in closer. And being with me is safe, isn't it? You haven't felt scared at all, have you? With him getting so close, Mi Lap started feeling flustered. Tran Lak continued, that's because you're obedient and capable. But what about your sister? Do you think she'll listen to me? Mi Lap thought about her sister's personality and figured there was no way Mi Lin would take orders from a stranger like Tran Lak. He then asked, between me and your sister, who do you think is better suited to lead everyone in this fight for survival? Of course, it's you, Tran Lak. If that's the case, then we need to make sure your sister. Before he could finish, Mi Lap interrupted, make sure of what? Tran Lak realized that directly saying he needed to train her to obey him would sound too blunt. So, he cleared his throat and said, we need to make sure she follows my lead and sees me as the team leader. Otherwise, surviving in this world will be much harder. Until she starts listening to me, I won't share any supplies with her. That means, for now, she only gets food, nothing else. Mi Lap understood what he meant. Tran Lak patted her shoulder with a smile and said, once she follows my lead, she'll have access to supplies. We're doing this for her own good. This is for my sister's sake. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, an impressive feast was being prepared. Seeing the large amount of food, Mi Lin commented, why are you making so much? We won't be able to finish all of it. Just cooking a few dishes is enough. Ma Nok simply replied, Tran Lak said to cook this much. So we cook this much. He decides everything. Realizing this, Mi Lin had no choice but to go find Tran Lak. In her mind, food shouldn't be wasted in an apocalypse. Tran Lak, tell them not to cook so much. If we finish all our food today, what are we supposed to eat tomorrow? I know Mi Lap is happy to be back. And of course, we should celebrate, but this is just too wasteful. Tran Lak simply raised his hand and said, this is my food. I'll do whatever I want with it. Hearing that, Mi Lin suddenly felt guilty for having eaten their rice earlier. But even so, this amount of food was excessive. It would definitely go to waste. But damn, it smelled amazing. An hour later, the feast was ready. As she approached the table, she noticed something odd. There were 5 people, but only 4 bottles of water. Did they forget one? Thinking this, she decided she wouldn't drink water. She could just eat the food and have some soup instead. Ma Nok poured a bowl of soup and announced, alright, let's eat. As Mi Lin sat at the table, Tran Lak immediately spoke up. Why are you sitting here? Confused, Mi Lin replied, I mean, does it matter where I sit? Mi Lap, sitting beside her, felt guilty and whispered, sorry, sis, Tran Lak is a good person. I hope you'll listen to him. Tran Lak smirked, we're about to eat. You sitting there doesn't really make sense. But if you want to just watch us eat, then be my guest. Mi Lin's expression darkened. What, I don't get a share? Didn't you say we were celebrating my reunion with Mi Lap? Tran Lak chuckled. I did say that, but I never said you'd be eating with us. Look around, everyone here is my people. Only my people get to eat the food I risked my life to bring back. He turned to Mi Lap. Mi Lap, are you one of my people? Without hesitation, Mi Lap answered, yes. He then turned to Dai Tru and Ma Nok. And what about you two? They responded in unison. We're with Tran Lak. If it weren't for him saving us, we would have met our ancestors by now. Even the dog and cat joined in, barking and meowing as if to say they were also Tran Lak's pets. Tran Lak chuckled. You hear that? Everyone at this table follows me. That's why I'm willing to share everything with them. Then he turned to Mi Lin. And you? You're not one of my people. So you have no right to eat. Unless, you're willing to listen to me. Call me Tran Lak, and then you can have some food. Mi Lin's face turned red with anger. All this over one meal? You dare humiliate me like this? She slammed her hand on the table. Don't push people too far. She turned on her heels and walked away. Listen up, Tran Lak. Going without one meal won't kill me. You think this is a big deal? This is just some petty mind game. Meanwhile, Mi Lap was happily eating. Kai Nok, this royal chicken drumstick is amazing. Mi Lap, try some spicy grilled shrimp too. Thanks. Tran Lak, hearing that made Mi Lin even more furious. This is the ocean fish you love the most. Eat up. Even though she was angry, she had no choice but to return to her room. With nothing else to do, she decided to sleep, but as soon as she opened the door, her eyes widened in shock. What the hell is this? There was a pair of men's underwear lying on her bed. Milap, what the hell did you do? You let some filthy guy stay in my room? Milap walked over and scratched her head. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Tran Lak has been staying here for a few days now. But don't worry, he's a really good person. Mi Lin gritted her teeth but held back. After all, Tran Lak had taken care of her sister. Oh, right, Tran Lak also said it's fine to take a bath. Just don't let the water get in your mouth. Got it, now go back and finish your meal. As she undressed and stepped into the shower, she couldn't help but sigh. Why do I feel like such an outsider? She clenched her jaw. Did that brat really sell me out just for food? She continued washing up, thinking to herself, but really, how much can one little fridge store? Anyway, Tran Lak, we'll see who has the last laugh. Just as she finished bathing, she overheard them talking outside. Let's have some grapes for dessert. Grapes? That was Mi Lin's favorite fruit. She swallowed hard. Out of all the fruit, why did they have to pick grapes? No, she told herself, I don't care. It's been days since the apocalypse started. Those grapes are probably frozen and tasteless by now. Still, she cracked open her door and called her sister into the room. Tran Lak smirked, as expected of a beauty. That face, that figure, who wouldn't be tempted? He picked up a bunch of grapes. Mi Lap, hurry back and eat. I saved a bunch for you. Mi Lin shot him a glare. She was sure he was doing this on purpose to provoke her. As soon as Mi Lap entered the room, Mi Lin pushed her onto the bed. You little brat, you actually let a stranger into my room just to mess with me? She tickled Mi Lap. Spit it out. What exactly are you trying to do? Mi Lap laughed, struggling to breathe. We made a deal. We're all teammates now, and everyone sees Tran Lak as the leader who'll guide us in the apocalypse. She caught her breath and continued. Tran Lak was just worried you wouldn't listen, so he had to do this. He explained it to me before. And honestly, it makes sense. Mi Lin narrowed her eyes. You've been brainwashed, haven't you? Look, if he proves he's capable, I'll naturally listen, but using such cheap tricks? Does he really think one meal is enough to make me submit? Mi Lap hesitated. Then, what do you plan to do? We can't just keep fighting zombies forever. Mi Lin scoffed. If he wants me to follow him, he should prove himself first. I'll challenge him and see who comes out on top. With that, she threw on her clothes and stormed out. Where are you going? I'm going to find my own food. I'm not eating his. Mi Lap panicked. It's already dark outside. It's too dangerous. She turned to Tran Lak. Tran Lak, my sister is about to go out searching for food. Please stop her. Tran Lak chuckled and said. Sorry, Mi Lap, I have no right to stop her from going anywhere. But if you're worried, he pointed at the little cat. Tell her to take Kama along. At least it can warn her if something happens. However, the little cat looked completely unwilling. Then, Tran Lak instructed Tu Hak to follow secretly and protect Mi Lin from the shadows. Tu Hak groaned in frustration. It's so hot, and now I have to babysit her? Seeing this, Mi Lap also wanted to go with her sister to help. Tran Lak agreed. Of course, but be careful and take an electric baton with you. As he watched Mi Lin leave, he smirked. Mi Lin, honestly, I don't even need to use these tricks to deal with you. But still, in his past life, Mi Lin had often beaten him up for stealing food. Once, she even kicked his butt, leaving him no choice but to take revenge in this life. Mi Lin, I don't think this payback is too much, right? But I have to admit, you're quite strong. I need to make you submit as soon as possible. 10 minutes later, Mi Lin found a pack of instant noodles. Hey, looks like I'll have something to eat tonight. It's not as good as someone's cooking, but it'll do. Tran Lak saw her from a distance and chuckled. If someone didn't know better, they'd think she just found premium beef noodles. But is there really any beef in that pack? He turned to the kitchen. Kai Nok, I feel like eating beef noodles again. Let's cook some. He glanced at Mi Lin and smirked. Tonight, I'll let you taste what real beef noodles are like. Mi Lin glared at him. Oh, don't look at me like I'm your enemy. Come over here, let's talk. Fine, she said, crossing her arms. I'd like to hear what nonsense you have to say. I admit, what I did at lunch was wrong. I should apologize to you. Mi Lin raised an eyebrow. You're not up to something, are you? If you have something to say, just say it. Don't act fake. I'm serious. I was wrong at lunch. But since you don't consider me your leader, I can't distribute resources to you. A leader must have both strength and strategy. I will prove to you that I can make you submit in every possible way. Let's start with strength. 3 days from now, we'll have a match. If I lose, I'll follow your orders from then on. Mi Lin's eyes lit up. Really? Of course. Good. But why wait 3 days? Why not fight today? Tran Lak grinned. I haven't fully controlled my abilities yet. I don't want to accidentally hurt you. In reality, he wanted to reach level 4 first. By then, his power control would be much better. Right now, she wasn't even a match for Tu Hack, let alone him. Ha, are you saying I can't even beat a dog? Tran Lak shrugged. Fine, if you can defeat Tu Hack, then we'll talk. Why do I feel like he's mocking me? Mi Lin thought. As they talked, Tu Hack suddenly became aggressive. Outside, a weak voice called out. Mi Lin, Mi Lap, are you in there? Mi Lin, I saw you return. Please, could you spare me some food? I haven't eaten in 2 days. Mi Lin opened the door and said coldly. You haven't eaten in 2 days? So that means you ate something 2 days ago, right? Hearing her reply, Tran Lak was impressed. Damn, she's ruthless and straightforward. From inside, Mi Lin said, we don't have food to spare. Leave. She turned to Mi Lap. Remember, no matter how much we give her, she'll eat it all in 1 day. Then she'll come back asking for more. We're struggling to survive too. We need to keep enough for ourselves. Tran Lak stood up and smirked. Mi Lin, your survival instincts are impressive. Save the flattery. 3 days from now, we'll see if you're really as strong as you claim to be. Just then, the little cat rubbed against Tran Lak's leg. That woman from earlier, she had bad intentions. Tran Lak picked up the cat. I know. His eyes darkened. No matter what she's planning, once she comes here, she won't leave alive. Meanwhile, outside, the woman stormed off, fuming. HMPH, that little brat is so heartless. She walked to a group of men. Are you sure Mi Lin is back? One of them asked. Absolutely, I just spoke to her. The woman confirmed. Mi Lap is home too. I even saw her go inside with 2 strange men. The men grinned wickedly. Good, those sisters are still alive. Hey, with bodies like that, it'd be worth it even if we die after 1 round. What a vile group of scumbags. They immediately grabbed their weapons and prepared to attack Mi Lin's house. But they had no idea what was about to happen to them. Meanwhile, Dai Tru spotted a group of suspicious men approaching. He immediately informed Tran Lak. There's a group of armed men heading this way. Tran Lak chuckled. Handle them, just make sure they don't die right in front of the house. Cleaning up the bodies would be a hassle. Without hesitation, Mi Lap used her ability to enhance Dai Tru's strength. Chap 36-39. After Dai Tru went to take care of those idiots, Mi Lin stood to the side. Observing, she glanced at Tran Lak, realizing that he was actually quite handsome. At the same time, she was curious to see if a man and a dog could really be as formidable as he claimed. The two of them stood together, watching the scene below. Suddenly, loud barking echoed in the air. Hey, guys, come over here. Looks like we're about to have some dog meat for dinner. Ha ha ha. Taking advantage of their numbers, the thugs quickly surrounded Dai Tru. Tu Hack stepped forward, barking, Gao Gao, prepare to die. Seizing the moment when they were distracted, Dai Tru launched his attack. 2 men at the back hesitated, startled by his strength. Damn, this guy is a beast. Don't panic, if we all rush him at once, we can take him down. But Dai Tru stood firm, unfazed. No matter how hard they swung their clubs at him, it was completely ineffective. What the hell? Is this guy made of iron? He doesn't even flinch. It's gotta be an ability. Come on, don't we have powers too? Stop whining and fight. Meanwhile, Tu Hack positioned himself behind them, preparing his signature move. Pika Pika, 100.000 volts. One of the thugs scoffed. TCH, it's just a dog. You think you can scare me? But before he could finish, he was instantly stunned, both by Dai Tru's overwhelming strength and Tu Hack's powerful electric attack. On the balcony, Tran Lak raised an eyebrow, a bit surprised. Huh, I didn't expect Tu Hack to be smart enough to act as a distraction so Dai Tru could strike. Did he figure that out on his own? He turned to Mi Lap. Go collect the energy crystals from those 6 guys for me. Mi Lap's eyes widened. Me? Are you seriously making a beautiful girl like me do such a disgusting job? Tran Lak chuckled. You did great supporting us. But you should also get used to handling things yourself. In battle, hesitation can be deadly. Mi Lin nodded in agreement. You'll have to do this sooner or later. Might as well start now. But deep inside, she smirked. Ha, consider this payback for messing with me during lunch. Tran Lak handed Mi Lap a dagger. I'll go with you. I'll teach you how to do it properly. As he walked downstairs, he told Dai Tru, no need to do anything else. Let Mi Lap handle it. Mi Lap whimpered, close to tears. At that moment, she deeply regretted teaming up with Tran Lak against her sister earlier. Now, both Tran Lak and Mi Lin were making her suffer. Desperate, she turned to Tu Hack, silently pleading for help. Tu Hack simply turned his head away and snorted. Nope, this ain't a dog's job. That being said, he still poked the thugs' heads with the dagger, assisting just a little. However, the moment Mi Lap actually did it herself, She instantly gagged and threw up. She had used too much force. After collecting the energy crystals, she handed them to Tran Lak. Tran Lak laughed. It's okay, you'll get used to it. Have some beef noodle soup later to recover. Right on cue, a steaming bowl of noodles, packed with beef and vegetables, appeared in front of them. Mi-Lin stared at it, thinking, are they eating beef noodles? Or just straight up beef with a side of noodles? Is this even normal? Tran Lak handed the biggest bowl to Mi-Lap. Eat up, you need to regain your strength after throwing up. Mi-Lap pouted. Thanks, Tran Lak, but I don't think I can swallow anything right now. Meanwhile, Mi-Lin was fuming. Not only had she lost her appetite from watching all this, but Tran Lak's smug attitude was infuriating. Sitting off to the side, she grumbled to herself. Why does the food smell so damn good? I want to eat too. No, I refuse. I won't eat with them anymore. She grabbed something random to eat but kept getting distracted by the mouth-watering aroma of their meal. Let's see how long they can keep this up. I know how small our fridge is. There's no way they have that much food left. However, by dinner time, she was utterly dumbfounded. How do they still have so much food left? Our fridge isn't that big. 2 meals should have emptied it by now. Unable to contain her curiosity any longer, she snuck over to check the fridge. The moment she opened it, she was completely stunned. The fridge was packed to the brim with fresh food and drinks. Her entire worldview shattered. She immediately stormed over to Tran Lak. Tran Lak, when the hell did you go out to gather supplies? How did I not notice? And how the hell did you find this much fresh food? At that moment, Mi-Lap casually walked over and answered. Oh, sis, Tran Lak has a spatial ability. The food he has stored could probably last us a few years. Mi-Lin froze. Nani? Realization hit her like a truck, and she turned to Mi-Lap with an enraged expression. Why the hell didn't you tell me sooner? Mi-Lap scratched her head and said. Sorry, sis, I forgot. Hee. Hearing that, Mi-Lin couldn't help but smile. She turned to Tran Lak and made a bold declaration. In 2 days, we'll have a match. If you lose, you have to listen to everything I say. Don't worry, Tran Lak replied confidently. If I lose, I'll do whatever you ask. But honestly, we could fight as soon as tomorrow. Mi-Lin smirked. Once he loses, I'll make him serve me food every day. Then I'll never have to worry about meals again. Hee. Meanwhile, Tran Lak continued training while deep in thought. Once I reach level 4, I'll be able to walk in midair. Not only will my defense improve, but my powers will also evolve significantly. The level 1 survivor crystals were becoming less effective for him, since he needed stronger energy. He decided to absorb the crystal from the Rat King. The moment he did, a powerful surge of energy flooded his brain. Within seconds, an intense headache struck him like a hammer. Mio-Kan, watching nearby, grew concerned. Is he okay? But it wasn't just a headache, Tran Lak's entire body ached, making it impossible for him to stay upright. It seemed he had truly broken through to level 4. After some time, his body finally stabilized. Holding the crystal in his hand, he let out a deep breath. I finally made it to level 4. He turned to Mio-Kan with a grin. Hee. There's still more than half the energy left in this crystal. Be good and stay here. I'm heading out to test my new abilities. Meanwhile, Tiu Hak sensed something different about his master. The moment he saw the energy surrounding Tran Lak, his jaw dropped, and he started barking in shock. Tran Lak turned back and reassured him. Relax, it's me. But Tiu Hak was still trembling. Damn it, I protect this house for you. And you come back just to scare the life out of me? The noise woke up Mi-Lin. She walked out, rubbing her eyes. Did you make Tiu Hak bark just to wake me up? She grumbled. Tiu Hak quickly defended himself. I was really scared, okay? Tran Lak ignored them and simply said. You're overestimating yourself. Go eat. After that, we'll have our match. Mi-Lin hesitated. Wait, didn't you say we'd fight tomorrow? Why are you suddenly calling me out in the middle of the night? Before we start, let's confirm something, she added. If I win, you'll do whatever I say. Right? Of course. Tran Lak smirked. But you seem a little too confident. How about we make it more interesting? I'll defeat you within 3 seconds from a distance of 20 meters. If I fail, I lose automatically. How's that? Mi-Lin scoffed. Tran Lak, I'll admit you're strong, but 3 seconds? That's just ridiculous. It's not ridiculous, Tran Lak said, smirking. I'm just very confident. The moment the fight starts, I'll just retreat and buy time. There's no way he can beat me in 3 seconds. And what exactly do I have to do if I lose? She asked. Tran Lak grinned mischievously. If I win, you just have to turn around and let me give you a little kick on the butt. Hee. Fine, then if you lose, I get to kick you too. If you win, you can kick me as many times as you want, or you can ask me for anything. But it won't matter, because there's no way I'm losing. Hee hee. The next morning, the two of them stood in the middle of the street, surrounded by onlookers, ready to duel. Alright, if there's nothing else, let's begin, Tran Lak said. Ha, there's no way he can beat me in 3 seconds. I won't let that happen, Mi Lin thought to herself. But just as she was strategizing, Tran Lak disappeared. Her eyes widened in shock. I was watching him the whole time. Where the hell did he go? Did he just turn invisible? Before she could react, Tran Lak reappeared behind her using a spatial portal. In an instant, he wrapped an arm around her neck. She struggled, but no matter how hard she fought, she couldn't break free. Leaning in close to her ear, he whispered, Aya, Mi Lin, looks like you've lost. Mi Lin froze. If he had used a knife instead of his hand just now, I'd probably be dead already. Realizing she had no choice, she sighed. I lost, so now what? Wait, does this mean I actually have to turn around and let him kick me? Lost in thought, she suddenly felt Tran Lak pat her on the back and say, let's have breakfast first. Mi Lin, you should join us. As they sat down, Tran Lak spoke. I was wrong about what happened 2 days ago. But from now on, we're comrades. We should get along better. Don't you think? Ma Nok brought over the food and said, don't be shy. If this isn't enough, there's plenty more. Mi Lin hesitated for a moment. Refusing now would be rude, wouldn't it? Without further thought, she began eating hungrily. This is delicious, she mumbled between bites. It would be a shame to waste food after someone put in the effort to prepare it. Tran Lak chuckled to himself. Hee hee. From today on, Mi Lin is officially one of us. A while later, he stood up. Alright, now that we're all full, let's move to the living room for a discussion. We need to plan our next steps. The group gathered in the living room and began strategizing. The apocalypse isn't just making humans stronger, the zombies are evolving too. If we want to survive, we have to stick together. But resources are becoming harder to find. If we keep scavenging alone, we'll eventually face serious danger. That's why we need to form a large team, one strong enough to last in the long run. Right now, we're powerful, but if we run into a group with 100 members, even if we win, we'll suffer heavy losses, and that's something I can't accept. Tran Lak's expression turned serious. I refuse to submit to anyone. I won't bow to anyone's authority. Besides, his gaze shifted toward Mi Lin and Mi Lap. You two are beautiful women. What if some scumbag tries to force you into something? What would you do then? Mi Lin immediately slammed her fist on the table. If any bastard dares, I'll beat him to a pulp. Tran Lak nodded. Exactly. That's why we won't be joining anyone else's team. And no one will dare mess with us. His voice carried a determined edge. We need to form our own group, a large one. Of course, we'll be selective. We're not taking in just anyone. Mi Lap thought for a moment before nodding. You're right, we should build our own team. Dai Tru agreed. I'll follow your lead. Tran Lak. The city is overrun with zombies. He continued, so most survivors will likely move to the outskirts. If I had to guess, they're already forming their own groups out there. Mi Lin glanced at Tran Lak with newfound respect. I didn't expect you to think so far ahead. But honestly, I was considering the same thing. Tran Lak smirked. Looks like she's finally acknowledging me. But there's still one more thing left to do. He couldn't help but think about his real reward, the long-awaited kick. Hee hee. I'm going to make sure this moment is perfect. Out of nowhere, he said, that's enough planning for now. Mi Lin, come with me to the room. I have something to discuss with you. She frowned. Why can't you just say it here? It's private, he replied. At that moment, Mi Lin's eyes widened in realization. Wait, don't tell me he's really going to kick me? Even though she suspected his intention, she had no choice but to go along with it. A promise was a promise. It's just one kick. No big deal, right? Right? As soon as they entered the room, before Tran Lak could say anything, she turned around and stuck her butt out. Alright, just get it over with. Tran Lak scratched his head. Confused. Why are you sticking your butt out in front of me? Mi Lin blinked. Huh? Isn't that what you called me here for? Mi Lin clenched her fists. How much does this guy want to humiliate me? Frustrated, she snapped. Why do you even want to kick me as a reward? How about you pick a different punishment? As long as it's not too unreasonable. I'll do it. Tran Lak shook his head. Nope, a loss is a loss. Just say whether you're going to do it or not. Mi Lin gritted her teeth. Damn you, Tran Lak. Fine, she huffed. I keep my word. With that, she turned around again and raised her hips. Hurry up already. Tran Lak's hands trembled with excitement. I can't believe I'm actually doing this to the legendary flame goddess herself. This was a moment of pure joy, one he would never forget. Chap 40-45. After bending over, waiting for Tran Lak to kick her, Mi Lin noticed him taking off his shoes. Taking off his shoes? That must mean the kick will be lighter. He wouldn't have the heart to kick me too hard, right? But if he does, I swear I'll cry right in front of him. She turned back and asked, "Why are you taking off your shoes? I'm counting to 10. If you don't kick me by then, I won't stay like this anymore." Tran Lak, holding his shoes in his hands, looked at her counting and felt a bit puzzled, but he quickly brushed it off. A grudge is a grudge, I had to settle this. Mi Lin had already counted to 3. Tran Lak thought to himself, didn't I call her here for this exact reason? Right as the countdown was about to end, he made his move. Smack. Instead of a kick, Tran Lak slapped her on the butt. Mi Lin's face immediately turned bright red. She spun around and glared at him. Why did you slap me? Weren't you supposed to kick me? Tran Lak scratched his head sheepishly. I forgot. How about I make it up to you with a kick? Her anger exploded. You bastard. I'll kill you. She lunged at him, grabbing his arm threateningly. If you dare tell anyone about this, I swear I'll pinch you to death. Tran Lak quickly raised his hands in surrender. Mercy. Great warrior. I wouldn't dare. I'll just head out first. Before leaving, he added, for lunch, I'll have Ma Nok cook some of your favorite dishes to celebrate you joining our team. Mi Lin huffed. You better keep your mouth shut. But then, she suddenly hesitated. Wait, how does he know what I like to eat? Did Mi Lap tell him? A while later, the table was filled with a delicious feast. Looking at the food, Mi Lin thought, if it weren't for Tran Lak, I probably wouldn't get to eat meals like this anymore. She raised her glass and clinked it against his. Thank you for helping me and Mi Lap. Tran Lak waved her off casually. No need for thanks. We're a team. Then, his expression turned serious. I have something important to discuss. Staying here makes us an easy target. Tomorrow, we should check out my old villa. Everyone agreed, and they immediately began clearing out nearby zombies in preparation for the trip. It was also a good opportunity for Mi Lin and Mi Lap to train and improve their skills. As they strategized, a distant voice suddenly broke the silence. Fuang Ca. They turned to see a young man fighting off zombies, protecting a group of survivors behind him. Please, don't fight them, just run, one of the survivors pleaded. Tran Lak watched and sighed. In my past life, Dai Tru saved me in the same way. But these were venomous zombies. If the young man didn't abandon the 3 people he was protecting, he would be doomed. The moment he spotted Tran Lak approaching, the young man immediately called for help. Seeing his courage and loyalty, Tran Lak decided that saving him, and recruiting him, would be a good choice. Without hesitation, he gave the order. Tiu Hak, go! In an instant, Tiu Hak charged forward, unleashing a burst of electricity that instantly fried one of the zombies. The survivors gasped in shock. What the hell? That dog is insanely strong. Once the zombies were dealt with, the group hurried over to thank Tran Lak. Thank you for saving us. Tran Lak nodded and asked, have any of you awakened an ability yet? The man wearing a headband stepped forward. Yes, I have. My name is Fuang Vu. My power enhances my strength and physical endurance. He gestured toward his teammates. This guy here is Duang Huyan. He has ice abilities. That one is Li Fai. He can use electricity like your dog, but nowhere near as strong. And lastly, this is Tu Lan. He has earth manipulation powers. Fuang Vu continued. The 4 of us used to be security guards for the same company. We've been comrades for years. We went out today to gather supplies but got overwhelmed by the zombies. Tran Lak introduced himself in return. I'm Tran Lak. There's strength in numbers. How about we team up? Fuang Vu agreed without hesitation. If you're willing to have us, we're in. We owe you our lives. After officially recruiting them, Tran Lak invited them onto the truck. There's not much worth scavenging here. The only place that might still have supplies is the shopping mall. When they finally arrived at Tran Lak's old villa, he turned to Fuang Vu. Go inside and tidy up a bit. I'll catch up soon. As they walked in, Mi Lin commented, they're strong, and they don't abandon each other. Tran Lak nodded but gave a warning. That's true, but remember, this is still the apocalypse. Stay cautious. Dai Tru grinned. Don't worry, I get it. Tran Lak pulled out a bag of rice and handed it over. Mi Lin, Mi Lap, you 2 pick a room on the 3rd floor. Dai Tru, you and Ma Nok take the 2nd floor. Once everyone settled in, Tran Lak turned to Dai Tru. Come with me, let's check on the others. When they approached Fuang Vu's group, they overheard them talking. That dog, Tiu Hak, it's unbelievable. The 4 of us together probably wouldn't even stand a chance against it. Tran Lak cleared his throat. Ahem, do any of you know how to cook? He tossed them the bag of rice. Fuang Vu immediately shook his head. You already saved our lives. We can't possibly accept this. Keep it. We'll find our own food. Tran Lak smirked. Don't be so formal. You guys are part of my team now. A little rice is nothing. But in his mind, he thought, of course, once you're full-fledged members, then you'll get to eat meat too. Dai True, give them a walkie-talkie. As Mi Lin walked over, she questioned, Tran Lak, I get why you brought Dai True. But why am I here? Mi Lap is back there with strangers. What if something happens to her? Before she could say more, Tran Lak pushed her head down into a bush and whispered, Shish, someone's coming. Sure enough, a car approached, and from it stepped a beautiful woman with white hair. The moment Tran Lak saw her, he recognized her immediately. It was Mo Thien Ca. Damn, I completely forgot about her. Mi Lin, crouched beside him, had no idea what was going on. Tran Lak leaned in and explained. She's the CEO of a fashion design company, and also a designer herself. Then, he muttered to himself, too bad she's a complete lunatic. After the apocalypse, she had gathered her low-ranking employees and formed a base that only accepted women. It would have been a good thing. Except for one rule, she strictly forbade her subordinates from falling in love. Anyone caught breaking that rule was severely punished. But who in this world doesn't have desires? To make matters worse, she was a total obsessive when it came to Mi Lin. It was said that in a previous life, she had sacrificed herself to save Mi Lin. Afterward, Mi Lin took her place and eventually allowed men to join the team. Looking at her now, Tran Lak figured she had come here with her subordinates in search of supplies. Looks like, thanks to my influence, Mi Lin and Mo Thien Ca are going to meet earlier than expected. He glanced at Mi Lin and smirked. Well, it's not a bad thing for her to have someone so devoted to her. And now, she's technically my subordinate too. Hey, Mi Lin frowned. Why are you looking at me like that? Nothing, Tran Lak replied. Just. Before he could finish, a sharp voice rang out. Who's hiding over there? Tran Lak turned his head and recognized the woman speaking. It was Tu Van. A powerful ice ability user. Too bad she died too soon in my past life. At that moment, Mo Thien Ca approached and greeted Mi Lin. Hello, I'm Mo Thien Ca. May I ask what your name is? I'm Mi Lin. What brings you here? Mo Thien Ca gestured toward her group. Our team is made up of women who protect each other in this apocalypse. You should join us. Tran Lak, standing nearby, nearly choked. What the hell? Trying to steal my people right in front of me? Do I not even exist to her? Mi Lin shook her head. Sorry, I already have my own team. Mo Thien Ca's eyes narrowed slightly. She pointed at Tran Lak. Is he your boyfriend? Before Mi Lin could respond, Tran Lak immediately cut in. What does that have to do with you? Mi Lin, standing beside him, turned red as a tomato. Tran Lak turned away. Come on, Mi Lin, let's go. We need to stick to our schedule. There's cleanup work to do. As he walked off, Mo Thien Ca watched them leave, her expression darkening. Men are all the same, greedy, lustful, and untrustworthy. I need to show Mi Lin his true colors. She turned to her subordinates. We're staying here tonight. Split up and search the area. Her goal was clear. She would make Mi Lin see Tran Lak's true nature and convince her to join their group. Late that night, Tran Lak stood across from Mo Thien Ca. You called me out here to talk? We barely know each other. Mo Thien Ca crossed her arms. I have a proposition. She pointed east. About 3 miles from here, there's a massive shopping mall. If we can secure the supplies inside, we'll have enough food for a year and personal goods for over a decade. She raised a hand, but there are too many zombies inside, so it's not easy to retrieve them. That's why I want to collaborate. I take 70%, you take 30%. Fair, right? I have more people. Tran Lak nearly laughed out loud. That mall? That's the same one where Mi Lap and I fought a mutated zombie. I already looted it ages ago. He shook his head. Nope, not happening. There are thousands of zombies in there. I'm not going in. Mo Thien Ca's expression twisted in irritation. Coward, if you're scared, at least pretend to be brave. What kind of scumbag is this? And why is Mi Lin following him? Tran Lak casually waved her off. Go on, have fun. I won't be joining you. In reality, Mo Thien Ca had planned to lure him into danger, hoping to expose his weaknesses and eliminate him. But the guy didn't take the bait. She gritted her teeth. Fine, if he won't fall into my trap, I'll have to find someone else to deal with him. Mo Thien Ca made her way to another room and knocked. Fong Ca, are you in? A voice responded. Oh, Mo Tong, in front of you. How could I dare call myself Fong Ka? Just call me Fong or Tiu Fong. She scoffed internally. This damn delivery boy, if it weren't for Mi Lin, I wouldn't have sought him out. But his wind ability is quite powerful. I need a favor. She explained her plan, then added, I want you to use your wind ability to lure zombies toward Tran Lak. She continued, I want to punish that scumbag. Do you understand? The man smirked and clapped his hands together. Got it, Miss Maou. It's an honor to help you. Besides, I can't stand those kinds of men. Then, as if remembering something, he chuckled and added, but after I help you. Before he could finish, Mo Thien Ca interrupted. You want a good position, right? Once this is done, I'll let you join my team. Hearing that, his excitement grew. Thank you, Miss Maou. I'll give it my all. Truth be told, he had always wanted to play the bad guy role. But he lacked the strength. Now, this was his chance. Tiu Lin, just wait. Once I'm done here, we'll be together all day. Every day. Hee. Gripping his sword, he prepared to take action. He suddenly recalled that his old friend, Dai Tru, worked as a guard at the mansion. Last time, he couldn't find him, but this time, he was determined to check. With that in mind, he activated his wind ability, drawing a horde of zombies toward Tran Lak's house. As he neared the mansion, he muttered, sorry, my friend. However, before he could continue, he spotted Dai Tru, Tran Lak, and Tiu Hak standing at the entrance. His gaze locked onto Dai Tru, and he asked in confusion, why are you here? Tiu Hak was already preparing to unleash an electric attack, but Tran Lak gestured for him to stop. Seeing the swarm of zombies approaching, Fong Sa's expression turned uneasy. Damn it, why didn't Mo Thien Ca tell me Dai Tru was here? I can't betray a friend just to join her team. Making a split-second decision, he changed direction and used his wind ability to lead the zombies elsewhere. As he passed, he shouted, Dai Tru, hold on, I'll lure them away. Tran Lak watched in mild surprise. So he has a wind ability. In my past life, we were somewhat friends. He often helped draw zombies away so he could scavenge supplies. Too bad he didn't make it. He died a terrible death. Torn apart by zombies. Fong Ca gave Dai Tru an apologetic smile and said, sorry, I didn't know you were here. I didn't mean to scare you with all these zombies. Dai Tru waved him off. It's fine, Fong Ca. I know you wouldn't bring them here to harm me. Tran Lak, however, narrowed his eyes. Did Mo Thien Ca tell you to do this? Fong Ca hesitated. How do you know that? Wait, does that mean Tran Lak is the scumbag she was talking about? Tran Lak pressed on. Did anyone else know about this plan? Fong Ca shook his head. No, it was just the two of us. She said she wanted to punish some scumbag, and that she'd make her move at the right moment. So that's her plan, huh? Before he could say more, a strange sound echoed in the distance. No way, is that a TIER-5 mutated zombie? Meanwhile, inside her speeding vehicle, Mo Thien Ca gave a sharp order. Keep going, don't stop. She assumed the zombies had been drawn here by Quang Fong. Not bad, Mi Lin, hang in there, just wait for me. I won't let the zombies get you. The car plowed through multiple zombies, sending them flying, but suddenly, a high-level zombie leapt aside, narrowly dodging the impact. Then, forming a fireball in its palm, it hurled the attack straight at the vehicle. Inside, the passengers screamed in terror. Careful, that's a high-level zombie. Mo Thien Ca immediately jumped out and shouted, get out, take cover behind the car, as she took in the sight of the monstrous creature before her. Her expression darkened. Why is there a mutated zombie this strong here? Stay calm, everyone, she ordered. She activated her ability, and several blades materialized in the air. One of her subordinates gasped. Wait a minute, is that a spatial ability? Just like Tran Lak's? But the mutated zombie was no ordinary foe. It easily caught one of the blades before it could strike. Then, seizing the moment, it lunged forward in a surprise attack. Mo Thien Ca's face paled. It's coming straight for me? But she wasn't about to die so easily. Without hesitation, she grabbed a nearby subordinate and used her as a human shield. The people behind her watched in shock. Did I see that right? Is this really the same Miss Maou who saved us after the apocalypse? Meanwhile, Tran Lak, having just arrived at the scene, let out a low whistle. Well, looks like karma finally caught up. But his attention quickly shifted to the mutated zombie's crystal core. I had to get my hands on that. As soon as Mo Thien Ca saw Tran Lak approaching, she continued plotting against him. However, Tran Lak remained unfazed and stood his ground. He smirked and said, Miss Maou, so at critical moments, your strategy is to use your own teammates as human shields? How noble of you. Then, without warning, he slapped her across the face. That's for being an idiot. I never expected you to be this kind of person. The slap jolted Mo Thien Ca back to her senses. How is he this strong? Before she could react, The mutated zombie charged at her and landed a devastating punch to her chest. She collapsed instantly, lifeless on the spot. Tran Lak merely crossed his arms and watched. Meanwhile, Tu Van rushed forward, activating her ability, and shouted, "Everyone, run, I'll hold it off." Tran Lak admired her selflessness. "I respect your courage, not your strength, little sister," he muttered. Without hesitation, he summoned his void sword. Standing before the mutated zombie, he thought to himself, "Such bravery is rare, I won't let her die." Sensing a new threat, the zombie immediately launched a fire attack. However, Tran Lak's abilities weren't so easily countered. Before the flames could reach him, he used his void step to teleport behind the creature and slashed it down with a single strike. Quang Fong and the women watched in utter disbelief. The zombie that had tormented them for so long was slain in an instant. Tran Lak turned toward them and barked, "Hey, throw that gas tank away. Do you want to blow yourselves up?" Tu Van quickly hurled it into the sky. Moments later, it exploded, just as Tran Lak had predicted. She collapsed onto the ground, covering her mouth as she mumbled, "It's finally over." Tran Lak took the opportunity to extract the mutated zombie's energy core. Then, turning to Tu Van, he said, "Stop sitting there crying. Come on, I'll help you up. It's over. There's no more danger." After helping her to her feet, he added, "Now, go reassure your people. The dead need proper burials too." "Thank you," she whispered. Tran Lak then asked, "So, what's your plan now?" The survivors looked at each other in confusion. Their leader was gone. What were they supposed to do next? Tu Van glanced at Tran Lak. "That's right, those of us still alive need to keep moving forward." A while later, as Tran Lak sat inside, sipping tea, a voice called out from outside. Tran Lak, are you there? It's me, Tu Van." Hearing this, Tran Lak chuckled. Finally, they're here. With a grin, he got up to open the door. "Coming, give me a second," he said casually. "Looks like my 50 tons of bait weren't wasted." Hee. It turned out he had already provided them with some supplies earlier. Stepping outside, he said, "Stick with me, and you'll be safe and well fed." But Tu Van hesitated. "I need to talk it over with my people first. We'll find you afterward." Tran Lak simply smiled and nodded. Soon, a group of women arrived. Smirking, he muttered, "Mo Thien Ca, your squad is mine now." Tu Van stepped forward. "We have 20 people who wish to join your team." Tran Lak nodded. "No problem, but there are rules. First, you must obey my orders. No matter the situation, if you refuse to follow, I won't go easy on you. Of course, I'm not talking about anything immoral. Second, don't tell me you're scared or unwilling to fight. In my team, men and women are equals in battle. Third," he paused for a moment before continuing, "if you have a partner, I suggest you find one within our group. If you do get together with someone outside, they'll have to join our squad too." The women were surprised by the last rule but quickly saw its logic. This way, they could prevent spies and traitors from infiltrating their ranks. After discussing amongst themselves, they agreed. "Understood, we have no objections." Tran Lak nodded. "Good, then come on in. Thank you for trusting me." He added, "For now, Tu Van will lead you and handle communications with me." As they entered, their eyes widened at the feast laid out before them. One of them gasped, "Fresh potatoes, am I seeing this right?" Another chimed in, "So much sauce, we're really living the dream." Meanwhile, a few men in the group exchanged glances. "I think, my single life might be coming to an end," one of them whispered. "With only 7 guys and 20 women, our odds are looking pretty good." Another muttered. On the side, Quang Fong continued pleading with Tran Lak, hoping to be accepted into the team as well.